Saludamos. Buenas tardes a todos. Iniciamos el taller de enseñanzas públicas en español correspondiente al día lunes 24 de agosto de 2020, el curso número 70. Buenas tardes, buenos días, buenas noches a todos. ¿Cómo les va? Y le paso la posta a Víctor.
No sé si está. Buenas tardes a todos.
Buenas tardes.
Hola, Liliana.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Bueno, pues nada. Estamos aquí de nuevo. Te dejo el taller en manos vuestras y adelante. Yo voy a por agua.
Ah, bueno. No te vayas a ir también, si no, ¿cómo hacemos?
Estaré aquí al lado, bebiendo.
Bueno. Ok. Bueno, el día de hoy vamos a pasar una parte de un video que pasaron en el grupo de Norteamérica, que me pareció muy interesante el tema. Entonces, José tiene ahí el enlace, a ver si puedes compartir pantalla.
Si me los pasas, José, lo puedo poner yo y va más rápido. O no, o si te lo quieres pasar tú.
No. Es que creo que José ya se hizo experto.
No, Víctor, sí, te lo paso a ti, por favor. ¿Dónde te lo paso?
Y aquí en el chat
vale, ahora mismo te lo paso.
Copias y pegas el enlace.
Sí.
Digo porque yo tengo unos equipos.
Sí.
Cuando tenía una sociedad limitada y tengo unos equipos potentes.
Vale.
La línea de internet son 300 megas, o sea, es porque va más rápido, no es porque sepa más.
Sí, te lo paso ahora mismo. ¿El paso de Úrsula o...?
Que quieras, que pase.
Bueno, te voy a pasar los dos y que decida de Liliana el que quiere
Que quieras. Si tú lo has visto, Liliana, pásalo. Si no lo has visto, yo lo vería antes.
Ok, te lo paso por... Te lo paso por WhatsApp. Por Telegram.
Me lo puedes pasar por donde quieras, pero si lo puedes poner aquí...
Víctor, ya los tiene ahí, ¿eh?
Ya los tengo aquí los dos.
Sí,
vale.
Ok.
Uno es del doctor Rodrigo, que se lo podemos poner con toda tranquilidad, y el otro es...
Del grupo americano, ¿no? De la intervención del señor Keshe.
Ajá, más aparte...
bueno, es oficial. Vale. No, yo decía de pasar un vídeo, había que verlo primero si era de alguien personal, porque antes de pasar una cosa, que no salgan niños y que no salgan cosas que no debemos pasar, ¿sabes? Bueno.
Por cierto, me gustaría que si podría comentar Dan lo que escribió en el chat del grupo americano, que la verdad es que es impresionante, ¿no? Vamos, si queréis yo lo leo, vamos. Pero que si lo comenta él, pues mejor.
Lo que queráis. Yo tengo el vídeo preparado y lo que me digáis hago. Pongo el de doctor Rodrigo y después comenta y después el otro, lo que me digáis.
Lo que diga Liliana, por supuesto.
Vale. Pues
creo que primero el grupo americano, para que
pero está en inglés.
Ah, no, sí, pero creo que aquí está Dani que nos puede echar la mano con la traducción. Creo que sí llegó.
Pero
si no, pero se pueden ver la traducción automática también.
Sí, en español
podemos ver el de doctor Rodrigo y después a ver si llega Dani.
Sí está Dani aquí. A ver, Dani, si levanta la mano si puedes apoyarnos ahorita. Porque el del doctor Rodrigo igual está en inglés.
Sí.
También se puede traducir. Pero el doctor Rodrigo es muy largo, ¿eh? Es de
Ajá, sí dura bastante.
Si queréis, se puede adelantar.
Muy buenos días.
Entonces creo que el de grupo americano parecería bien que lo pasaran y con las los subtítulos.
Muy bien. Pues nada. Pero ¿Dean lo va a traducir o no?
Si tiene subtítulos, muchachos, buenas tardes a todos. Tal vez yo les puedo ayudar.
Ah, mira, está Ricardo que nos puede echar la mano. Gracias, Ricardo.
Sí, te los pongo en español, ¿no?
Sí, por favor.
En español. Vale. Ahora tengo que... Qué complicado es esto. Que encontrar el botón verde. Aquí. Compartir pantalla, sí. Y comparto pantalla con esta. ¿Estáis viéndolo? ¿Eh? ¿Lo veis?
Sí, Víctor, sí, Víctor, lo vemos.
¿Y os han ido? Muy bien. Adelante.
Víctor, ese no es el video que quiero que pases. Es el del grupo americano.
Sí, perdona.
Sí.
Tengo los dos y como está en inglés... Como está en inglés, pues...
Está en inglés.
In the fourth is the soul. Third level is the soul. In the fourth, medical field doesn't accept the soul. Medical field doesn't accept. You start talking about soul. You start talking about soul. So even emotions, they don't.
He abierto tantos vídeos que... Vale,
Sí, ese, mira.
Inglés general automáticamente y el castellano. Muy bien.
On us to make sure we're correct, and as we know in the foundation, the women are taking over. Mr. Kesh said,
Lo veis en grande, ¿no?
Had it long enough.
Sí, gracias, Víctor.
To go
A mandar.
something along that line. What I'm going to do first is just play a continuation of the video we started last week. We're going to play a 10-minute section of an interview that Mr. Kesh did in 2011. And he's speaking mostly about...
Tal vez le puedas adelantar cuando empieza la entrevista con el doctor Kesh.
Don't have any, as we allow others to come in.
Tú me dirás, ¿se ve bajo?
Ahí.
¿Ahí?
Más antes cuando estaba, aparece Kesh, la imagen de Kesh. Un poco más antes.
Communications from 14th of June 14th of June 1985 with NASA, where we proposed this technology. And we have developed the technology over years in stages, but in past 5 or 6 years has come totally in a very meteoric scale up, that we are literally developing everything and different aspects of the technology on a daily basis. The whole of science will change from what we know in one way or another in the very near future. As I gave a
Creo que se
presentation
desactivaron.
institute or organization known as IMEC
Dime.
in 2005.
Dime.
No, nada.
Es que la traducción en inglés está impresa en el vídeo. ¿Sabes? Entonces
Sí.
no se puede explicar.
Sí, adelante.
A scientist who was board of the directors of one of the subsidiaries of this establishment. He was walking in the room, up and down. We asked him, why are you tasting? He said, we were talking recently that very soon somebody will discover how gravity is done, and the whole ball game changes. And now this guy is here and explaining how it's done. You have to understand that this technology has been evaluated by University of Brussels, Flemish side, BUA, by Professor Van Almeer initially, for the assessment for the Flemish or Belgian federal or governmental side of the aerospace. And they said initially, yes, the technology is correct. It's feasible that it produces energy. Then the technology was assessed by independent commercial entity to see if a copy can be made. And they said, yes, it can be done. Then we start building prototypes, different prototypes over 4 or 5 years. And then we saw the first flips in Belgium in mid-2006, 2007 it was carried on. And in 2008, with the invitation from the Iranian government, we built the first proper gravitational external movement in Tehran, which has been tested. And now the system is very floating and we can fly, we can move any movement we like. And as we have said very recently on the Keshe Foundation Forum, if the Russian Space Agency and the American National Space Agency will not be able to assist their astronauts, which are in the space lab, as the Americans don't have any more space program till 2020, and the Russian rocket has recently exploded. They are not launching anything till they find out what's happening. We are so advanced that we are prepared to intervene and if need be to bring the astronauts back. And we are preparing ourselves for such a demonstration. We have shown the system to the scientists at University of Kent. They have seen the physical system. We have shown the videos of the weight reduction and lift to the scientists and officials from the Belgian government and within the Belgian structure. In past 3 years, they know exactly what it stands. The Americans know what it is there, and with the Canadian government, when they arrested me in Canada last year for 11 days, they have downloaded the whole thing. They know it's very true and very correct. Because in the package of the documents they downloaded and they copied, there are videos of the lift and weight reduction. They know it's correct. And it's a copy of what was developed in Tehran.
And why did they capture you, or what were they looking for?
Nobody knows how. The reason that I was arrested on board of a plane and I transit from Brussels to Mexico City and transit in Toronto Airport, nobody knows. I was interrogated at one stage, or 2 days, 3 days, up to 12 agents and scientists at the same time in the airport of Toronto Airport, from 9 o'clock in the morning till 1 o'clock the next day, on 3 days, consecutive days. And they've copied everything in my suitcase, in my dossier, which I was carrying on a scientific trip. And they were so stupid that they left some of the papers and the documentation. They were in such a hurry to copy in my suitcase. So when I returned, I opened my suitcase because they just restricted me on the plane back to Belgium. And we put all the documents on the internet. So all the Canadian government document officials copying my things, all the bags, what they had in their hand, keys, what do you call it, internet keys, hard disks, how many hard disks they stole, they copied everything. It's all on the internet. We actually got physical, left all their documents saying certified that my passport, all my documents I carry is correct. This all is in our final position.
But like, aren't there like a lot of people who have like problems with you, or like the way you're gonna handle things, or it's against their business? That's all.
We don't have problem with nobody. The thing is, as American naval officer, high-ranking officer told me in Seoul, in Hamilton Hotel in 2008 when they asked me to attend a meeting to see their officials. They said the problem with me is that I don't talk as a scientist. I'm not a theoretical physicist. What I talk, I make systems that shows the reality of what I talk. I'm an engineer. So when I think of something, I can physically make the system and show it. And this is the problem with what I do. When I say we can lift, we understand the gravity and magnetic fields, we build a system to prove the technology. I build everything physically from A to Z. And then we test it and it works. It's the same what we've done with medical applications. In 2008, when there was a girl in coma in a hospital in Belgium, when we said we can bring her out of coma, when she was in Glasgow 3, which is literally a heartbeat, there was no brain activities, the doctors called me a charlatan. Within 7 days, the girl recognized her mother, recognized her father, recognized her family, and by Belgian law, the machine should have been turned off by 6th of May 2009 because the body was dead. The girl is alive. She's been tested by scientists at Liège University with a collaboration from scientists from Cambridge University and scientists from Israel to confirm that she's fully conscious. She recognizes the whole condition, and we have videos of it which has been sent to us by the mother to confirm it was the right decision for us to allow a body, a human being, to live and not to be killed by present knowledge in the world of science. The reason why we got it developed, I pushed ahead with the medical application of the technology, is that we are very much running operation parallel or the same, or any cooperation the space technology development organization does as we do. NASA does the same. Russian Space Agency does the same. Iranian Space Agency does the same. The Chinese Space Agency does the same. Is that we try to cover all aspects of it: the medical, the food, the energy for space, and lift and motion. So for me, has been the point that we cannot take all the medicine to space. We cannot take all the doctors with us to space. There will be more medicine than cargo to cover the headaches, the migraine attacks, the heart attacks, and there'll be more doctors than the astronauts to do the heart operation if somebody goes sick, or to, God knows, to an amputation or whatever it comes up. So the whole concept is that we are making one system in space. We do not need, even if we come in touch with new diseases and germs, we can't fly all the way back to Earth for somebody done a clinical trials for 10 years to see what the results are. All diseases are energy-based, are magnetic field-based, and are magnetic, plasmatic magnetic field-based. So now we're developing one system that in space we don't need to carry any medicine. And that's the whole objects of the production of getting involved in the material side of the medical application. We are not in competition with pharmaceuticals. Our objectives are space only. So we're developing a technology where in space, one system can handle most and all the diseases known and to be come across in the space force. Space is full of viruses.
Okay, that was just a little clip from 2011. As we know, we're getting practice now with the corona, and as Mr. Kesh said, this practice is for us to learn how to handle viruses when we go into space. I would like to hand it over to Alex if he's ready. Alex Skorik is going to be bringing us or sharing knowledge with us today.
Thank you very much, Mark. Joshua was asking for permission to record. Is that possible?
I think it is, if Peggy will allow that. Okay, here she is in the chat. You are set up now, Joshua. And thank you, Alex, for being here, taking your time to share with us.
Well, I have so many things I want to talk about, and basically, I have to pare it down to something that we can talk about in a reasonable amount of time. Just to mention, Joshua is here, and what's going on around him. We're having a new coronavirus outbreak in Canada. and it's only true. And one of the things I want to talk about today is what is the difference between 2 weeks ago and today? And this came up at the Brazilian meeting on Friday night. And so I wanted to get directly into that. So I'm going to share the screen. And while I'm doing that, I want to say my name is Alex Skorik, and welcome all of you this beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is the Cash Corona Telegram meeting in English. This is the North American team. That includes Canada, US, and Mexico. And we have a lot of visitors from other continents, and you are all welcome because as we are providing universal systems, as we want to go into the universal community, we need to think on a universal basis. So we're all in this together. And you know, it comes to my mind what the Three Musketeers said, right? All for one and all for me. That's what it is on this self-serving society. We're almost there, Mark.
We see your screen, yes.
I want to get right into it today because there's a lot of people who are complaining loud, really loud, like really, really loud. I don't want to talk about those people. I want to talk about the people who are just complaining loud. Today we have two protests going on in Canada, one in Quebec, one in Ontario. They're protesting the masks. And the reason they're protesting the masks is because it's a violation of our rights. And let me just start out by saying these people are stupid. And the reason for that is, I don't mean to jump to conclusions, but the facts bear themselves. We are in an emergency situation, and during an emergency situation, you lose all your rights as a citizen. So if you're out there claiming your freedom and your rights during a period of time when you have no freedom or rights, that is insanity. And I don't understand how come you're so well organized when the whole purpose of the masks is to complement the lockdown. So we didn't protest the lockdown, now we're protesting masks. What caused the lockdown? What caused the mask? What caused the social distancing? Oh, it's the coronavirus. Okay, why are we not protesting the coronavirus? Why are we not well organized to protest the coronavirus? Is that a legitimate question? Well, when you ask the protesters, why are you protesting against the mask? Is because we don't believe there is a coronavirus, so the government has falsely forced us to wear the mask and they're infringing on our rights. No, they have infringed on your rights. You have no rights. So get back into your little caves and shut up, because what we have is a situation here of massive denial. And that denial is the denial of reality. And today we're going to talk about that reality because we have a mission and we have a problem. The problem is the size of the mission. The size of the mission is daunting. And one of the ways we're going to overcome that, and what we've tried to do over the years, we have several years of archives in the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, our school. And the next trimester starts on Monday 21st September 2020. And this is a whopping 100 euros per year. In Canada, it translates to $164 a year. And this is a PhD level education. It is capable of delivering to you at your pace, however you want, and also you can participate as a knowledge seeker. And so, although this presentation, and most of the people here are knowledge seekers already, there are new people that are always coming on. And so this is our dilemma. How do we convey the multiple years of knowledge? And what did Mr. Kesh say? It was going back to 1985? Really? 1985? This is 2020. You know, in 1991, I discovered how to alleviate cancer. And I ran into the problem because I was very grateful and I wanted to tell people. Well, you know, the funny thing is people really didn't want to know. And that's the same problem we're having today. And that is the problem. Not the mask, not the lockdown, not even the virus is the problem. The problem is that we don't understand the rules of the game. And the rules of the game include the universal community. So this is a newfound, shall we say, perspective. And so this is the link, the Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. And this is what the actual unit is looking like as it's coming off the assembly lines. And we will be seeing these in action all over the world. And when I say action, stay tuned. But you know, the amazing thing is we're tossing money around like there's no tomorrow. And we're talking about millions, billions, trillions. And here we, in 500,000 euros, we can have a universal body enhancement spaceship unit that'll do some amazing things. And what is amazing is that we are doing other amazing things. And these amazing things have to do with the biggest scandal that we have going on in Canada right now. And I keep bringing this up because other things keep coming up. And I wonder why this scandal is as huge as it is. It's because it's touched a nerve. And that nerve has to do something with, well, for those of you who like to drink this red stuff, and you understand the relationship between that and the other brother who is a Rhodes Scholar. And people say, you know, if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck, I think it's a duck. And in Canada, we got things upside down. In the United States, we got huge problems. But let's just focus on one problem. Let's go to Corpus Christi. What did we talk about 2 months ago in the Knowledge Seekers Workshop? We talked about the variations and mutations of the virus that affected children. 85 cases of infants under 23 months. Numbers are doubling. This is as of August the 5th. You know, how much can we stomach? How much can we sit by and watch stuff like this happen? Why are we well organized to protest masks? We're not well organized enough to defend our children. And why am I saying this? Well, let's look at what's happening in Mexico. Okay, let's look at what's happening in Brazil. Brazil, we came up with a very, very important thing that came out Friday night. For those of you who were there, you witnessed a great thing happening there. People were asking for leadership. They were asking for trying to figure out why are we having trouble. For those of you who have followed this story, this is a chief, a native chief. His daughter there with the mask had the virus, and he resorted to the plasma technology to eradicate the virus. And with that success, he has decided to make peace. Peace, oh yes, peace with his neighbors. And he's decided to share with them via workshops, knowledge seekers workshops, to explain to them the benefits of the plasma science and how it can affect the virus there, so that they don't have to wear the mask. Eliminate the virus, you eliminate the lockdown. Eliminate the lockdown, you eliminate the mask. You eliminate the social distancing. We get back to normal. Isn't that the way we should do that? And so when I say what has changed, the big complaint in Brazil was this particular document, which is the Plasma Science Journal, that shows a successful application of newly discovered GANS plasma and GANS water technology for detection, cure, and prevention and environmental disinfection of the COVID family of viruses in trials in Iran 2020 pandemic, which was actually published on June the 1st and was suppressed for about 8 weeks at the cost of lives at a minute around the clock, and now has finally received the blessing of the supreme leader of Iran. And so many of the administrators in Iran are pushing forward to implement this technology. And implementing is the word of the day, because that's the question that they had in Brazil. Why are we not implementing it in Brazil? And could it be possible that we need this document, we need to translate it into Portuguese so that we can use this? Well, I got news for you. We've had this translated in English for a long time, and frankly, it's not made any difference. And why would that be any difference when, you know, as I say, going back to 1991 and you, what to do about cancer, and it doesn't make any difference, does it? And so here we are. We can eradicate the coronavirus. It's at our disposal for a couple of bucks per person. And we have documentation, scientific evidence, and it doesn't make any difference, right? Why are we locking down in Melbourne? You want to complain about masks? How about a lockdown? Would you like a lockdown where you can't even go onto the street at 6 o'clock at night, where the police are walking along the street and they're ready and eager? Why, buddy? Because you got $5,000 in the bank and you want it. You're out on the street violating curfew. It's a $5,000 fine. Holy cow. So, and why is Australia doing this? We have the English translation of the scientific documentation. What is your problem? So, you know, let me just read this letter that Jim McDonald posted. He's from Australia, and it's regarding the coronavirus solution. This is from the Keshe Foundation Manufacturing in Australia. We would like to bring to your attention a research paper produced by the Keshe Foundation in relation to the successful processing of COVID-19 in China in Iran 2020. Using the plasma science and GANS technology developed by MP Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, they have successfully shown in trials the effectiveness of using this technology to eradicate the coronavirus. In trials conducted, a success rate of 95% was achieved. 95%. 95% success rate was achieved. And the most exciting aspect of this technology is that it can be used in the following manner. So one is prevention. The same technology can be used to spray the home, workspaces, public spaces to help reduce the risk of contracting the virus. So for all of you anti-maskers out there who are harassing the restaurant owners, who are doing nothing more than complying with the current law, asking you to wear a face mask so the restaurant owner doesn't get shut down and fined, why are you harassing that buddy there? When if we can prevent the virus by spraying in our homes and workspaces and public spaces, we won't need the mask and we won't need to worry about social distancing. We need something to detect the virus. There's a problem with the detection, so a simple method of spraying the person with GANS water will reveal whether the person has contracted the virus or not. And then, of course, we can extend our sphere of influence to the environmental disinfection. So areas that are contaminated with the virus can be successfully treated using GANS water. Do we know where these areas are? We can't see it. We can only hear about it after it happens, right? Like in Corpus Christi or in Manitoba, Canada, or in Florida or Arizona or Texas or California, or, you know, like Brazil and Spain, France, Iran, China, Australia, wherever. treatment. As shown in the report, a success rate of 95% achieved in treatment of patients infected with coronavirus. So the Kesh Foundation, we are the Kesh Foundation, offers a holistic solution to process the coronavirus. Why are we the Kesh Foundation? You know, we are all volunteers. We are here because we want to be here. Why do we want to be here? Please read carefully and consider your decision. Our community and every life within our community is precious. A solution is available. Jimmy Don, Director. So this was published in English, and look at the difference. What has happened? Not much, not really. And so we said to the Brazilians on Friday, you know, you've asked the right question. The solution is the wrong solution. Whether or not it gets translated into Portuguese is irrelevant. What is relevant is that we have a 95% success rate. And so it's so many, and we're talking about over 3,400 knowledge seekers in Brazil are making these cups. So we have the soul of man, the soul of physicality, the physicality of man, the inertia and the gravity of the planet. So these are all the technical aspects of how we can produce GANs to eradicate the virus. What I want to talk about today is how to eradicate the malaise that we have on this planet, because the virus is actually emblematic of what's going on. The cups of life are emblematic of what we need to do to stop that, basically. But what we need to do is we need to understand the plasma science. And so the real problem, and this is where it was a very, very gratifying discussion with the Brazilian community on Friday night. And I want to bring this to the North American team to understand that our discussion is, why is it that when we have this solution, we are still not able to make the change that is so necessary? So it's almost like we've got all these cars all over the place, and you still insist on taking your tricycle to work. Okay, so there are more advanced technologies out there, and we need to use them. We need to implement them. And what is at stake? Nothing much, just the future of our society, right? And we can hear by the protests, the loud protests, that for some reason, some people are not happy with the future. Well, the future in Brazil right now, you know that we're at the breaking point in Brazil because we have a lot of people who are giving trouble on the Telegram site in Brazil. And I say to them the same thing I say to the maskers, anti-maskers. You're picking on the wrong people. Don't you understand that you are expendable? So for whatever motivation, and I tend to believe it has to do with money, and that's short term, for whatever motivation you are fighting for, you're very myopic. And you will be just as expendable as we are. So get your head screwed on straight and understand that there's 100,000 people in Iran who figured it out. Why is 100,000 in Iran? Because there's 25 million sick and then the population's only 80 million. So at some point, someone has finally figured it out and they can't stomach it anymore. They can't stomach the losses and they can't rationalize it, okay? Their conscience is hurting, they can't sleep at night, they're crying rivers of tears, and enough is enough. And so Mr. Kesh's books are being translated into Iran. And for those of you who don't understand, this is a major, major accomplishment because this is not an easy task to do. And there's more involved than just simply publishing. And so now not only we have the first book coming into reality, the second and third books are being translated. As I say, we have had We have had the English translation for a long, long time, and it hasn't made a difference. So we have the Universal Order of Creation of Matters on the book number 1. That's been around for quite a while. Book number 2, The Structure of Light. That's been around for quite a while. And The Origin of the Universe. And that's taking us into a whole different direction, isn't it? So for those of you who are new knowledge seekers and you want to know what's going on, you have a long way to go. And so our dilemma is, how do we start? Well, I think the problem here is we have to start at the beginning and understand that if we don't eradicate this virus, we don't have to worry about much else. And so what we found out, there are multiple strains, multiples of each strains. They're transmitted by field strength. There are 25 different strains. 25 different strains as per the scientific report, which, as I said, the CBS News has identified 6 different strains. So we're about 19 short of a load, and 2 of those strains affect children under the age of 2 or even 1. And so what we're seeing is symptoms where the children, our children, get affected. Temperature rises, they go into a coma, and they die. And it's done in very, very short order. Forget about the 14-day quarantine. We're talking about 24, 48 hours, 72 hours, whatever. It's a very short period of time. So we don't have time to protest about things like masks. We need to get rid of the virus. That's our main focus. In order to get rid of the virus, we have to understand how the virus operates. So please forgive me because I've done this repeatedly, and my only comment is that I haven't done it 15 times yet, so I'm going to have to repeat this more often in the future. But the reason I repeat it is because you want to be able to convey this message to the new people out there. You want to be able to do it in a concise, quick manner. Explain to them that there is more within what they're seeing, that they're shortchanging themselves. So there's a magnetical gravitational relationship in plasma science. It affects our giving and taking. Giving and taking is something we all know about. Most of us do a lot of giving at Christmas. The rest of the year we do a lot of taking, and we like to take it at other people's expense. This involves an emotional and a physical penalty. This emotional and physical penalty manifests itself in the physicality in our society. And in the plasma science, there is a link. And that is a link between, let's just say, physically zinc and copper. And it is for this reason that we introduced the 1 cup and the 2nd cup. So what we tried to do was create a very, very fast solution to the coronavirus. So we can do this in 1 cup and a 2nd cup. We can do it in less than half an hour, assuming we have all the materials that we need. And then we start developing something which what we have to understand is how reality is manifest. And so when we look at reality, think of it as a roof on a house. That is our physicality. The roof is our physicality. If you're looking at it from the top, that's all you see is the physicality. You don't see the substructure that's below. That substructure consists of matter, state, dark matter, and antimatter, and this was discussed extensively in book number 1. And in plasma reality, you can take the roof off, but you can leave the walls. The matter, state, dark matter, and antimatter. The thing about this is that the substructure, the plasma reality, is non-tangible and non-visible. The roof, the physical reality, is visible and tangible. So therefore, you can have a substructure and not see it, or you can have a substructure with a manifest reality. But what happens, what is the virus? It's an energy pack. And didn't Mr. Zukesh just say that in the intro today? A very well chosen intro today. It's an energy pack. And as such, an energy pack does consist of matter, dark matter, and antimatter, but there is a problem with it, and that is it is going all over the place. How do we contain this? Well, that's the question. And where is it now? Well, where you don't have the plasma reality, you have what we call as a vacuum. And most of us perceive a vacuum to be nothingness. Well, nothing is nothing. Something is always something. Okay, so something is always something as opposed to something else. And this is what it is doing in a vacuum. It is going from here to there until it finds a place to go somewhere. And where is that place? And that place would be to some place we call a reality. And that would be a plasma reality. And we can't see it. Well, we can't see in a vacuum either. So what's the difference? The difference is as we increase the field strength, we have a capability of manifesting a reality. So we have to reduce that strength to create a reality. How can we reduce if we don't have excess? So as the energy in the vacuum travels, comes into the plasma reality, and as the plasma reality becomes more dynamic and grows, then it has excess which it can give and donate and manifest a physical reality. And this is the unique structure on this planet. This is the Gans that I got out of a cup number 1. And I was washing my Gans, and a funny thing happened. I did not make this dent in the middle of the Gans. I'm looking at it from the top down into the glass, and I did not take a swizzle stick here and make that hole in the middle. I did not do that. I don't know how that happened there. I didn't see anybody do that. I didn't see how it happened. But I'll tell you what, there is a form, artifact of it happening. So therefore, there's an energy field in there that has caused that to happen, and I don't see it. I would call that non-visible, non-tangible energy. That is the plasmatic energy, and what does it do? It creates a rotational field. Okay. Well, we do see the Gans. Okay, so the Gans is physical, and the plasmatic field in the middle is non-physical. Okay, well. So, what are we missing when we look at the 1 cup of life and the 2nd cup of life and all the cups of life? We're not seeing these fields. And so let's discuss these fields in specifics here. So we have a magnetical field that gives you the rotating construct. Inside the magnetical field, once you create a gravitational field, now you create a balance of fields, and you have the beginnings of a creation of a plasmatic structure. And within that plasmatic structure, you get a soul. So what you have is a representation of a physical structure here that has a substructure of matter, dark matter, and antimatter. So you can describe this to people however you want, okay? But you have to understand that these are the 3 components of each one of these structures, the magnetical gravitational balance. And so the magnetical gravitational balance, this is a picture that you can't see, okay? So you can't see this, so you can't see the x-axis, which is the rotation, and you can't see the y-axis, which is the polar alignment. And with the balance of the x-axis and the y-axis, now the question is, how big is this field? And the bigness of this field is determined by the z-axis. So is the size of this field predetermined? Is the size of this field fixed? Well, Einstein in his theory of relativity said that the speed of light is constant, okay, and that is the maximum speed that we can go at. So if you go beyond the speed of light, you may get a $5,000 ticket for violating curfew. The coronavirus doesn't care about your stupid laws. It concerns itself with a plasmatic field. The coronavirus is a plasmatic energy pack, and it follows plasmatic rules, has a magnetic field. And in that magnetic field, it morphed into a gravitational field. And then it has a balance of a magnetical gravitational field. So let's review. Magnetical is emotional. It's giving. We tie that into the zinc. The gravitational is physical. That is the taking. And we tie that into copper. Understanding the relationship of the emotional physical and understanding the relationship of the giving and taking is where the soul teachings are going. And so we're at a point now, if we're introducing this concept, we have to be very basic. And we have to say that the higher strength feeds the lower, and this is one of the ways it goes. So we're going to try and demonstrate that today. But you have to remember that there's a question. That question is, when we're giving and when we're taking, from where are we giving and taking? You know, because if I give, what is that exactly am I giving, and where did I get it to give it? And if you're taking, are you only taking from me, or can you take from somewhere else? So, you know, and why do you decide to take from me, and why didn't you decide to take from somewhere else? You know, so we can go on and list off 1,000 questions as to who and where and what are you giving and taking, and you know, you get to the point where you can't take it anymore. So let's simplify things. So we looked at the 1 cup, and in that we had a zinc plate and a copper coil and a nanocoated copper coil in the middle. But what we've always said is, although you hook them up with wires, and the wires are important to hook them up, what I really want you to look at is the fields. So I understand where's the magnetical field, where's the gravitational field, and what happens as a result of it. But when you look at these physical constructs, you have to understand that each and every one of them has their own magnetical field, their gravitational field. And so collectively now, they are also providing a magnetical and gravitational field. Okay, so all of these fields, the magnetical, gravitational, and soul fields, all of them have a plasmatic support structure consisting of the matter, dark matter, and antimatter. Okay, so whether you can see it or whether you cannot see it, that plasmatic support structure has to be there. So as long as you know that you have a field, you know that you do not have a vacuum. Rays go through vacuums. Once a ray hits a field, if it has the affinity to join that field, then it engages in the magnetical field and begins a dynamic plasmatic rotation around that field. And in the process, it mutates into a gravitational field and encompasses a soul field. And this is how it goes. And so we've seen with the 2nd cup, the same thing happens. We had a copper plate and a copper coil and a nanocoated copper coil, and we created a magnetical field. And we created a balanced condition with a gravitational field. And then the magic started to happen. And we took that one step further and we put the 2 together. And what happens? The individual components collectively come together to make the total component. So when you look at the total concept, don't worry about the details. To look at the total concept, you have a magnetical field, and that creates a gravitational field. And within that field, you have the soul. So this is the construct of the horizontal man. The horizontal man as opposed to the vertical man. But we're going to deal with the horizontal man today. And we know that the horizontal man has an emotional and physical construct in the brain. And we have an emotional and physical construct in the body. So if we have an emotional physical construct, which means it's a magnetical gravitational relationship, and once we have that, then we achieve a soul. Oh, so now we have to see that there's a soul of the man and a soul of the body. Isn't that interesting? So when you look at the sun and the earth and then you look at how we're interacting with these two, this is where we get into the soul positioning. We're trying to figure out, where am I, who am I, what am I, and where am I going, and why am I doing this? And so we tend to gravitate to the physical, right? Because that's what we see. That's the only thing that we see. We don't see the rest. You know, it's nice to talk about it, but, you know, Friday night over a beer, but, you know, we want to be physical because that's what we need. We need a roof over our head, we need a job, we need money in the bank, we need a fast car, fast women, and, you know, he who has the most plays wins. But as you can see with the construct here, the larger feeds the weaker, and the body is bigger than the brain. This is the direct opposition to the sun, which is bigger and feeds the earth. So it is through this connection that we exist, you see, because we do exist, you see. Okay, so if you have a problem with that, then, you know, you have a problem with being born. The sun has no problem connecting to the soul of man, no problem connecting to the soul of the body, and no problem connecting to the soul of the earth. Okay? It's us who have the problem. And one of those problems is the limiting factor that our emotions are coming into play here. Now, we can't see the emotions, but we can see the physicality. But, you know, even though we can't see the emotions, we definitely recognize the emotions. And so that kind of limits our thinking. And so what we really need to do is detach from our physicality and get reconnected to our souls. But what does that mean? Does that mean we kind of grow into it? No. Remember, when you were born, your soul came and you were grown into your body. So why would you think now that your body is going to grow into your soul? Like, you know, we got it backwards. We got it backwards. We got to go back to nature. I've taken the liberty of running the magnetical sphere around the sun and the earth here so we can see that the construct of what we see as the sun and what we see as the earth is the gravitational physical manifestation of these two beings. But you have to understand that there is a magnetical sphere around these. And as such, when we have a balance with the magnetical gravitational sphere, oh, we have a soul. So the sun has a soul. Okay. And then the earth has a soul. Okay. Now we're starting to see a pattern. And you know what? We better hurry up because the virus has seen a pattern. And that pattern is a magnetical gravitational relationship. And we've drawn that pattern with the one cup and the second cup. And what we're doing is we're depleting the energy, you see, because energy is always in motion. So the question comes, which way are we going? Are we giving or are we taking? And who are we giving it to? And who are we taking it from? So the plasmatic rules of the game is that the bigger feeds the smaller. So now we get into the third book. And this is the book that is causing a lot of confusion to a lot of people because I'm just going to change the diagram a little bit so that we can see a relationship. We have a sister universe. Yes, we do have a sister universe. We can't see it. We haven't been talking about it, but it's out there. And we have our own little tiny perfect world here. And when we look at the relationship of these two universes, and those are the only two universes that we're looking at here right now, we're discounting the other universes from the other locations. And we're going to look at our tiny perfect world, the earth, and the relationship it has to the sun. And what is our relationship? Oh, well, we're kind of upside down. Okay, so what does that mean? That means because we're earth bound, the physical soul of the body is bound to the physical soul of the earth. And the physical soul of the man is sitting within the physical soul of the body. Right? Our physical soul of the body is our little spaceship. And our little spaceship is on this earth spaceship, right? So when we say that the energy is fed higher to weaker, so the earth is created from the sun, well, then man's universe is also then created from the sister universe. So something is wrong here. And what is wrong is that we are upside down. So the difference between the physical strength and the universal strength is that the universal strength is working with the soul of the man and the soul of the body. So at that point now we have a universal strength, and that is working in opposition to our physical manifestation. Interestingly, the physical manifestation shows that the body is bigger, but in this universal strength, it shows that the soul of the man is bigger. So therefore, field strength and universal strength have different criteria. So let's acknowledge that and understand that when we were born, we had a lot of strength in the womb of our mother, and from there we grew. And we grew after 9 months, and we became part of this physical world. So we started somewhere and we ended up somewhere else. And we were much bigger than what we were. Where did that energy come from? And how did we contain that energy? And so this is the question that we have. All of us are souls on this planet. And right now what we're saying is that we're all kind of upside down. And can one person change that? Well, yes, it can. And the reason for that is because when we get into the plasma field strength, we find that it is orders of magnitude even stronger. And at that point in time, it's like you're driving your car at 100 miles an hour, and now you're driving at 1,000 miles an hour. You're 6 feet tall, now all of a sudden you're 60 feet tall. Wrap your head around that. So if we can increase our plasma field strength, now we're doing something a little bit different. So what we want to do is we want to take this and convert it to this and keep going so that we can take what is now a hardening, and this is what the latest versions of the virus are doing, is a hardening because of the gravitational nature of it. And we want to put our own coronavirus out there, which is a peace stone. And with this peace stone, we want to contain that and allow us to open up to the energy of the rest of the universe, right? So now we are in line with the way the universe is operating. So the sun feeds the earth, the soul of the man feeds the soul of the body, and the sister universe feeds man's universe. So this is starting to make sense. The thing that didn't make sense is that we actually have two souls. And the reason we have two souls is one is an earthbound soul and one is us. And we see the same thing happening in the universe. So if we look at on the left-hand side, we see that within the universe, although this universe is massively large, we are just a tiny speck in a tiny speck, a tiny speck. So let's carry on. 1 cup, we had zinc and copper coming together in the nanocoated coil. 2nd cup, we had copper and copper plate, copper coil, and a nanocoated copper coil. We introduced a 3rd cup, zinc plate, zinc coil, and we changed that. We made them all nanocoated. 4th cup, like the 3rd cup, except understand this. When we take the cup of soul and we put it in relationship with the cup of man, cup 1 and cup 2, what we find that one feeds the weaker, right? So the cup of soul feeds the cup of man. And so we look at the 4th cup, copper, and nanocoated copper. No, all 3 copper, all 3 nanocoated copper. And then the 5th cup, well, we introduced a new one. We introduced, one is zinc, one is copper, and the one in the middle is iron. And so this is the link. So here's the summary of the 5 cups. These are all physical. These are all physical manifestation with relation to our physical earth. So our soul of physicality comes in contact with the physicality. So these two cups represent our physicality. The soul of the man is in communication with the soul of physicality and the physicality of man. We have extended that now because the soul of man is giving and taking not only from our physicality, but is taking it also from the soul of inertia of the planet, right? So this is the physicality of the planet. And when we have a physicality of the planet, there must be something else. Somehow we connect to the planet, to the soul of the planet, and this is the connection. Okay, so the sun feeds the earth, soul of man feeds the soul of the body, and we're on this planet. That works. And that's the same as it is with man's universe and sister universe. But here's the giving and the taking, and where is it coming from? So there must be more. So there's above the 5 cups and there's below the 5 cups. So there has to be a source of inspiration. And how is that affecting us? Well, if the source of inspiration is some kind of plasmatic construct, then it must have a magnetical field, must have a gravitational field, and in turn, must have a soul. And if there is a connection, now we know how we got here. Okay, so what does that mean? Let's go back to the cup of soul. So the higher feeds the weaker, and we have our soul in there, but there's a problem here. We're horizontal. We're horizontal people. Okay, so we're missing something. So when we look at this construct here, we find that we have 2 souls. Okay, so let's put the 2 souls in. And so we have in the cup of man, a magnetical gravitational relationship with the soul in the 1 cup, and we have a magnetical gravitational relationship in the soul in the 2nd cup. And then the combination of the cup of soul with the cup of man, we find that we have a magnetical gravitational relationship. And so now we have created something. And so there we are. There we are somewhere in the universe. And we want to go out, we want to go and enjoy the universe. And how do we do this when we don't have a planet? We need to take our planet with us. Well, we can't take the planet with us. We don't have baggage that big. We have a lot of baggage, but nothing that big. So how does man have the audaciousness to want to go into space carrying out some kind of planetary existence? So what we really want to do here is we want to have a substitute for the planet. Okay, so this is where the Universal Body Enhancement Unit comes in. All what we have to do is go in the Universal Body Enhancement Unit, and then when we want to go somewhere, there has to be a place to go to. And in order for that to have a construct, it needs a magnetical gravitational relationship, right? Without that, it becomes a vacuum. So the travel between here and there is the same way the viruses travel in the universe. And the arrival within there is the same way the virus is mutating, right? So we can't take the Earth with us. So we'll take the Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit with us. Why not? So there we are. Now, if we're over there, how do we know where we came from? Well, we can't really be in 2 places at the same time, can we? So if we're going to go there, we got to leave the Earth. And if we leave the Earth, well, how do we know where we are? Oh my God. Well, we got to go back to nature here. So we understand that with the interaction of 2 plasmatic fields, there's an interaction of those fields. And this is totally plasmatic, which means you can't see it. Non-tangible, non-visible. Is it there? Well, it has to be there, because if you're here, you have to know where you came from, right? And if you're taking your physical body is constructed of the elements of this planet, which is Earth, and that is a unique thing. So if we're taking these unique constructs on Earth and we want to maintain them intact, then we have to maintain that connection. Because if we go somewhere else, if we don't have this connection, then we will be something else, right? So now, we have to have a reference point. And so this is between the sun and the earth, as between the man's universe and the sister universe. Now we have a reference point from our source of inspiration. And now we come to the crux of the problem, and this is what we discussed Friday night. If our tiny perfect world is only part and parcel of man's universe and its relationship to the sister universe, and we have a problem on this planet, which is a sickness, and we're not going to call it the coronavirus, we're going to call it self-serving at the expense of others. This is unheard of in the universe. So what happens as a result, because of the connection between what we're doing and what's going on in the universe, our malady here is reflected in the malady in our sister universe. And as a result, we're not allowed to go out. We're under quarantine. Just the same way as the government has taken our laws and our rights away. And so we're locked down. We have to wear masks and we have to be socially distant. Okay, why? Because there's a sickness on this planet. And we know what the cure is. We know what the cure is. How do we do this? We know that if we become self-serving at the enhancement of others, things will be different. So this is the answer to the Brazilian dilemma. And it was very interesting that they would have brought it up on Friday, because it wasn't done by one person, it was done by at least 3 people. And they all collectively got together and they figured out, the problem is not the virus. The problem is not the government. The problem is that we have a solution and we're not taking it. So if we continue to go on the lowest energy level, which we know is the physicality, then we are limited, and we are limited to this structure. So what do we have to do? We have to enhance, we have to elevate our soul, right? Because our soul is what's causing the problem to this earth. The earth is a perfect place. The earth's soul was so perfect that we decided to come here. Well, great, but who is the coronavirus on earth? I think it's us, all right? And what is our problem? Well, maybe we're missing something. So this is where the soul teachings are taking us. And then if we look at the soul of man and the physicality of man, now we see a similarity in construct between the soul of man and the soul of the body and the sun and the earth. We see a similarity there. So what do we want to do? We would like to elevate our souls. Why? Because that enlists energy transfer at a higher order of magnitude. So we would need to elevate our souls. That's what we're doing here in the middle. We're trying to elevate our souls. And if we elevate our souls, we start to liberate and elevate the souls of our source. And if we understand now that the construct of the sun and the earth is a magnetical gravitational relationship with the soul, and the interaction of the plasmatic fields of the sun and the earth is a magnetical gravitational construct of the soul. Some are visible, some are tangible, some are invisible, some are non-tangible. All of them are constructs. They have a plasmatic support structure. We have a plasmatic support structure. Our universe has a plasmatic support structure, and our source of our inspiration has a plasmatic support structure. Now we have a reference point, and now we have the basis. When fields interact, something else happens. Now we have a dynamic plasma condition. Now we have common ground. You see, we are physical. We have a unique capability of being physical on this planet, enjoy the beauties of this planet, and as such, we have a responsibility to this planet. And when we get our act together, then we can communicate with the rest of the universe. We have always been communicating with the rest of the universe. And the universe has always been communicating with us. It's just that we don't want to listen. Well, the problem with the universe, of course, is that they're working on a higher energy level. And they don't want to come into this physical manifestation. Not necessarily. Some do, though. But generally speaking, most don't. So in order for us to communicate with them, we have to find a common ground. And when we find that common ground, and we will find that common ground when we elevate our souls. So if we elevate our souls, they have to lower their souls, right? But there is a common ground, there's an overlapping, there's an interacting of plasmatic fields. And these plasmatic fields are created through a plasmatic substructure. And if we want our ticket to freedom, we better understand that our tiny little perfect world has to do with giving and taking, and how we give and take, and where we give and take from. So we have to know that there's more above and there's more below. And it's easy at the below part because we're already down there. And our responsibility is to this earth. This earth has a soul, and that soul is crying. It is crying. It's saying, hey guys, get with it. Get with the program. It's not working. You want scientific evidence? Let me tell you about scientific evidence. We don't have, in conventional science, a way to eradicate the virus. There's your scientific evidence. The new scientific evidence, we have a way to eradicate the virus in 95% of conditions. So the question is, are you giving and taking energy from the old science, or giving and taking energy from the new science? And if we're going to use the new science to give and take energy from, to get rid of the virus, why stop there? Why not enjoy the universe the way man is intended? So you see in Arizona, we're looking at the new space center that is coming. And what is our problem? It isn't the virus, it's the way we conduct and exchange energy, because we have no ethics. We've heard the complaints loud and clear, the least of which is those who are complaining about the masks. You have to understand that in this universe, the rules that we play by on this earth do not work in the universal community. So give it up. In the universal community, ethics matters. And ethics in the new equation of relativity, to me, is the morality times the compassion and the courage. Morality in how you conduct yourself, the compassion for your fellow human being, whether they're horizontal or vertical or otherwise. And the courage to believe in your convictions. And how do you get that courage? You get that courage through the verification and validation where you have, on a grassroots level, able to look after your own health. That is a universal law. You look after the health of your family. You look after the health of your community. And from there we grow, okay? Regardless of what's going on. So whether or not the KF Plasma Scientific Journal is translated in Portuguese or Arabic or English or whatever, that is irrelevant. It is there. It is scientific proof. Use it, love it. That's what they're doing. So we have some communities that are taking charge. We need to take charge of our own and grow that way. Create your own magnetical gravitational field force, give it a soul and watch it grow. But I would like you all to remember Elvis Presley. He had a song, Return to Sender, address unknown. No such number. And no such phone. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Alex. Are you going to go out and come back in?
Yes, I am. No, I just I'm gonna go make some.
Víctor, si quieres ya córtale, por favor.
I'll be back in a minute.
Okay, I'll put up the background. Thank you.
Muy bueno. Adelante, Liliana. Tenemos a Gerard aquí.
Sí. Bueno, esto era parte de lo que quería mostrar del grupo norteamericano, que se me pareció muy interesante su forma de ver las copas. No sé si tengan algún comentario. Bueno, ahorita. Creo que está Úrsula de espectadora. O tengan algo que aportar acerca del tema.
Yo creo que todos están esperando a ver si habla Halal.
A ver si, ¿qué?
Si habla Halal y nos muestra algo de su visión o interpretación. Porque todos quedamos fascinados con su locución el otro día.
Ok. Ok, adelante, Dan.
Bueno, ¿alguien tiene un comentario? ¿Quieres poner algo? Pues pasamos al siguiente vídeo que me has dicho del doctor Rodrigo.
Ajá. También hay que checar si tiene los subtítulos, porque si no...
Bueno, si yo lo miro. Está en español, lo que pasa es que aquí a lo mejor está en inglés. ¿Okay? Lo pongo.
The soul. The soul, medical field doesn't accept soul.
Un momento. ¿De dónde quiere Liliana que lo ponga? ¿Del principio o de algún punto?
Pues sí, estaría interesante desde el principio para que se comprenda desde...
Muy bien. ¿Aquí? Vale.
O si quieres cuando empiezan a enseñar sus máquinas.
Wow, yo pienso que todos tienen el alma más grandota que la fisicalidad. Yo me quedé con eso bien impactado. Yo me quedé con eso bien impactado porque Es verdad, nunca le damos importancia al alma. Pues muchos de nosotros ni siquiera sabíamos que teníamos alma, solamente pensábamos o lo teníamos como una idea. En mi caso, muy personal.
Es cierto. ¿Aquí?
Sí, así es. No sé si quieres comentar algo más, Ricardo, antes de que
No,
iniciemos
pasemos al video.
Bienvenido,
video?
Ricardo, que te echamos de menos un par de veces.
Me quedé sin teléfono, pero ya tengo otra vez línea. Pasaba algo en el teléfono, no tenía la línea cortada, pasaba algo en el teléfono, pero ya estamos aquí.
Tu señora y tu hijo bien, ¿no?
Están perfectamente bien. De hecho, le estaba diciendo a mi esposa, hijo, bueno, mi hijo, ahorita por la mañana, hijo, ten cuidado cuando salgas a comprar café con tu mamá porque te van a pedir el teléfono de tu amiga. Porque mi esposa se mira muy joven, su semblante se mira, tal vez algunos la vieron estos días, el sábado, domingo, que me ayudó con lo de la mano. Ven, mano. Se están muy bien, Vicente, gracias por preguntar.
Nos alegramos mucho. Doy al play, ¿eh?
Rico, Dr. Rodriguez, Mr. Kesh calls you Dr. Rodriguez. You know, we're just all here as souls, and you've kind of been on a wonderful soul journey besides being a doctor, right?
Yes, I've been searching for answers about the spiritual life, yes, for many, many years.
Beautiful. And you found some good ones, too.
Yes, pretty much since 2004, I think I found a lot of truth about this spiritual life, and this is a difference of spiritual is. And also, through this technology, before that, we learn a lot of things that we cannot match science and religion and all of that. But now, with all the knowledge that we have, we can fit spiritual and science and match. Find the matches.
Yes. We're just on an amazing path right now. And I know you had a hospital in Mexico at cosmetic surgery.
Yes, I practiced for 29 years plastic surgery. I had a hospital in Mexico. But like everyone has to evolve.
Yeah, so you have a lot of experience in the medical field. I think that's what's important for us to know about that.
Yes, I have a lot of experience in surgery and general surgeon. And as I said, I have all that, but I thought I felt in myself that I had to look for something else. And so, and that's what I understand now about spiritual life. You have to own something, do something, own it, and go forward. Don't stop yourself.
Yes, yay.
That's what we have to do. Yes, we own this and do other things. Because whatever you have, every knowledge you have, now that we know that we have reincarnations, life, whatever you own, you bring that. That's why we've seen many geniuses coming. Kids with 3 years old that are genius because they own that things in the previous life. They bring them back to this one, to now. So that's my goal, to know something, to own it, and go forward.
Beautiful. So we used to call it a quantum world. Now we're calling it a plasmatic world. And some of us found the teachings of Mr. Kesh, the Knowledge Seekers workshops, and his medical teachings and agricultural teachings and all these great things. How did you get led to the plasma teachings of Mr. Kesh?
The first time I heard about him is in 2013 when a teacher of mine mentioned him. He said that a new technology is coming to be able to heal 100% of diseases. So I was looking for that. This is I found some videos about Mr. Kesh, and it was so incredible. So I decided to become a student, and I've been a student since 2014.
God, it's amazing. I think those of us who've been here this period of time, I think I came in about 2015. Just this amazing amount of information that's spread all the way around the world, and people are putting it into practice around the world. And you are, as a Kesh Foundation student, because I think you're a surgeon, you have this skill with all these details. I remember I got to visit your house and your home and come and actually step into one of the health units that you had made, and I got to see your world where you were building things and how carefully you build, and it's so beautiful. So you have the hands and the ability and the mind to put these pieces together in a really beautiful way. So you've been able to kind of be a leader in the field a little bit in actually building these units, as Mr. Kesh has explained, and putting them together, although many other people are doing it in the world as well. I don't want to negate that at all.
Yes, we're working as a team. Somebody says, did I invent all that? No, it's part of the Mr. Kesh experiences, knowledge, and we all have to bring it together. Now it's not about all the legal, all this. It's about technology to the world, to humanity.
Yes.
All this, that's what I love about this. This belongs to humanity. We don't have to patent. We don't have to hide anything. We have to do something. I'm excited to build something for humanity. Now that I know all the knowledge that I've got as a plastic surgeon, as a beauty and all that, and now with the knowledge of this technology, thanks to Mr. Kesh, it's something happening in me. So I always say that as a plastic surgeon, I was passionate. I love to do surgeries. I had so much passion. And I found the same passion on this technology. That's why I do all this, because I love it. I like to human I like experiments. I like to do that. And that's what I like now. I created, according to the teachings of Mr. Kesh, I keep adding more stuff or changing. But that's not only me. There's a lot of groups in Kesh Foundation, group of doctors that are making all that. And different doctors, even non-doctors, all over the world are making this technology. And the beautiful of this, we posted on Facebook, we posted on YouTube, on Kesh Foundation pages, and everybody can start replicate all that. It doesn't belong to anybody. It belongs actually to the whole world.
Yes, absolutely. And are some of the medical units are in the blueprints, right? The KeshFoundation.org is the Kesh Foundation website, and there's a section there if you go down at the bottom and search called blueprints, and there's blueprints of many things there. And so I think some of the health units are in those blueprints.
Yes, he gives us or gave us information, a lot of information. Says you will be able to heal with this. But if he said, do this is the first step to be able to heal in the future, nobody's going to do anything.
Right.
But it's a way to teach with this. I love it. This, he said, do this and you will be able to heal everything. Yes, we build it, we heal something.
Yes.
In the steps to understand the whole process, the whole human.
Yes.
Actually, with this technology, I would say that everything that I learned about the body, how the body works in the medical field, I would say 70–80% of that were lies. Now with this technology, I understand more about the process of how the body works, and it makes us easy to address the body and change it. Mr. Kesh said a long time ago, says the body in the universe, the human body is the easiest machine to work with. Wow. At that time when I heard the first time, I said, no, the body is so difficult to understand, so many stuff. But now the more I understand, the more I learn about this technology, it says, yes, it is easy to deal with the body, because the body now, how we understand, it works so different the way we taught. And if doctors open their mind to understand now how the body works, and I prove that when I do lectures, when I give lectures, I prove this. I always start, do not believe everything that I'm gonna say, but at least open your mind to the new technology. And
can you give us just a little tidbit on that of how the body heals differently than we've been traditionally taught?
Yes, okay. If you allow me to show you some slides.
That would be cool, right?
Photos, that will allow people to understand a little bit more. So I'm going to start with this one.
Okay.
This one, it will help us a lot to understand how to deal with the body. And we use the body, the words balance of the body. We don't use healing the body. It's actually the body now understand the body has the capacity to heal itself, to regenerate itself, to repair itself. But we've been bombarding with so much pollution and environment everywhere that it creates so much imbalance in the body, and we lost that. We forgot how to heal itself. Sorry if you hear this.
I hear baby.
Yes, I know. It's just time to go to sleep.
It's okay.
So now we understand. So I would say there's 4 ways to bring balance to the body, but also we have to understand this. Physical body, in the physical, we all work on the physical. So doctors, we all work on the physicality. We work as a body has some issues. Okay, if it's a tumor, let's do a surgery, let's give injections, let's give us pills, just on the physicality, removing and taking and giving. But we don't heal anything. As a doctors, we don't heal. That's what I like people, doctors to open their minds. We're not healing as a doctor. We are not, we are detaining the diseases. So it's time to move forward. And a lot of doctors bring in different alternative medicines to help people, and they're having a good result. I'm not saying, oh, this is the best. No, everything is good. But we have to bring it all together to understand how everything works, and we're able to change it.
Right, and one of Mr. Kesh's fondest sayings that I think fits in here is, you need to learn to think beyond the matter state.
Exactly. So the second level of bringing balance is energetic. As a doctors, we think that the only energy that we have is the brain. But this is electrical impulse. It's not, yes, it's an energy, but it's a different one. So we have a different kind of energy. Let me show you this energy. Call them aura, call them whatever you want, because if we start calling aura, oh, this is religion. It has nothing to do with that. There's incredible devices in the world to prove that we have an energy field around us. And I'm amazed that science have proved that even a rock has energy. And they're amazed. Oh, the rock has energy. Everything has energy. Why don't address or accept that the body as well has energy? But what is important about this energy? Because through this energy, we can understand more about the body. As I said, there's a different cameras, different devices that can improve that energy field, and how, according to or the way we change the environment, we can change that energy field. We have proof that we can change the body. So even there are devices that can see colors, but also our people that can see colors. And I'm allow a person who is who is in the group of doctors and Cash Foundation is Klaus Detrev. He can see energies. He can. It's a photo. He can see the energy of any device, devices, electrical devices, bodies, people, everything. And he has helped us a lot to understand this technology. And I will explain a little bit forward how this skill that he has, and he's teaching people. It's not that, oh, I was born with that. He was taught how to use his own organs, to his own sense to see, be able to see this energy. And he's teaching people to see that. And people are achieving that skills, how to see energy of people, electrical fields, everything. So that is incredible tool that we're using to understand this technology, plasma technology. So with this, we created different devices.
And so, Dr. Rodrigo, would you say, when we say we are an energetic being, are we a plasma being, a plasmatic being? Is plasma and energy interchangeable, or are they two different things?
Yes, we are a plasma unit in the sense where people, oh, we are a body, we are cells, bodies. Yes, but as I said, if every rock has an energy, even the body has energy. Every single cell has its own energy, energetic field. Every organ has its own energetic field. When it comes together, it becomes what is. Now when we see the body, we hear so many times, what is above is below, what is outside is inside. We never understood that statements. But if we, and Mr. K says, if you want to understand the universe, learn a little bit about the body. You won't have to invest so much money. And it's incredible. Once we understand the body, we understand more about the universe. How the universe is kept together, have balance in the universe. How the Earth has balance with the sun and all planets around the solar system. It's the same way as the body. As I said, the Earth has its own energy as well as every single planet. It's like every organ in the body has its own planet, its energy. But when you get together, you create a galaxy. So the galaxy has its own energy. Even though they have different planets and different solar systems, as well as the body. The body is like a galaxy with the different planets or solar system, which is the organs, the cells, and the body. And that's the way it keeps together. That energy field, call them negative, positive, but actually it's a gravitational and magnetical. Gravitational means attracts energy. Magnetical gives energy. So in order to hold ourselves to something, we have to to set energy to hold ourselves, but also grab energy to have that wholeness to be firm in that state of holding ourselves to something. Like the earth and sun, the earth receive energy from the sun.
Right.
The sun gives is magnetical, and the earth receive that is gravitational. But also earth send to earth and not to hold it, but also is sent to another planet to create a balance. And so the same way as the atom works, the atoms, the electrons, the neutrons, the protons, they work the same way. They're not going around the nucleus and around the core in an elliptical way. It goes in the I would say elliptical, but in zigzag way, because it doesn't have a smooth round pattern or smooth a spherical pattern. It moves in different ways.
So this is an important part of this new understanding of the body. I love it. That's a really nice.
Yes, so it is an energy, and we have proven that through that skin, through this skin, and through the organ sense, we receive energy. The body, in order to survive, we in every single nanosecond, we receive energy through the body. And 80% of the energy the body needs in order to survive comes through the skin and the organ sense. Every 20% of energy comes through the food. And now we are advanced already. This is why if we receive 80%, why we eat. Because on the food and the environment, we don't have some proteins that we need in order to survive. But now we can change, we can create or change those proteins, solid matter proteins, to energy. Yeah, actually, we feed ourselves, we can create that energy field where we can receive 100% of the energy that the body needs through the skin, through the organs of sense. Yes, but us as humans, we still have the emotional part to chew. We need to chew something. Yes. Like myself, I ate once a day for almost 3 years.
Wow.
Just a little bit. Yes, I have a unit that 1.5 unit has the food on the top. So energy food. So I set out myself, look, 20 minutes inside, and then feed myself. I feel energy. I'm not hungry. But yes, I eat. My wife is a good, beautiful cook, and I love her food. But I don't used to eat that amount of food that I used to eat 3 years or 4 years.
Right.
So I eat a lot less. I can go in the restaurant, I can eat whatever. It's not a dogma. It says, oh, you're eating. So what? Yes, everybody can eat whatever they want. It's the only thing that we find is something better to receive, to absorb, and bring balance to our body. Because we have seen that the food, not the whole food is good. We have a lot of food that is contaminated with different metals and with different substances. But we more and more people are aware of that and trying to find organic food. But now that we can create energy out of that food, so we feed ourselves.
Right. And many of us, I think, who are around GANs and other plasma tools are experiencing that. We're fed easily by the GANs, and we eat smaller and smaller amounts of food just naturally. I remember when I was with you and I was there teaching workshops in that area, you gave me some tubes of food GANs that were wonderful. I carried those for a long time. I used to stir, put them in a cup of water that I was drinking, and it's fun.
It's amazing when we have learned this.
Yes.
We can get rid of hunger on the world in days, not years. And they really want to do it.
Yes.
So the reason why, once you start feeling better when we deal with the GANs, also we have to understand what is the GANs. What is GANs? It's gas and nanosolid states. It's small particles. Nano means small particles. Gas is GANs. Gas is because the elements outside. And understand what elements. So it's a good thing to know. We really don't know how the sun affects us. Even though a lot of people say we cannot live without the sun. How is that? Yes, because the sun helps it to synthesize vitamin D. Really? That small? But actually, through the sun, we receive the main elements. 96% of the body, as I said here, 96% of the body is made of carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, and hydrogen. 96%. The 96% of the plants are made of those elements. 96% of animals, every living entity in the world is made of carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, and hydrogen. We receive those elements through the sun. They come in, and we receive it through the skin. We attract them. That energy field that we have around the body attracts those elements. So, but the problem is there's a lot of pollution out there. And so we receive that pollution as well. So it creates imbalance in the body, create diseases. When we start creating the gas, carbon, the oxygen, CO2, CS3, all that, those are the same elements. It comes also with amino acids, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen. When we are exposed or close to them, we feel that affects us. Well, I'm starting to feel better. And actually, and that's what we have seen, that people start making gas. They don't want to go to rest. They don't want to go eat. They don't want to go back to home.
Right.
Not because they don't love it, because they love that energy, because they bring balance to the body. The body starts feeling better.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're doing here, create a new environment. This is the understanding of how the health unit works. The health unit is not only like creating the sun inside of us. Inside the house.
Yes, beautiful. Hey, let's go back to that picture you had of the health units, where I think we're excited to hear you tell us what those were about.
Okay, this one on the left side, actually, yes, this is the whole unit. Let me show you. I started like this. So this is the blueprints of CAS Foundation. We have how to build this. 6 coil here, 6 coil here, and the helmets.
And the coils are the Magrav coils, basically, but they're made a little bit differently, right? Don't they crisscross with each other?
The connection is different. When people ask me, are the same? So how it works with the Magrav? The Magrav, the way it goes, the energy goes to the first to the gravitational of the small ring, and then gravitational of a bigger ring, and then goes back to the magnetical of a small ring, and then magnetical of the other ring. That's the way it flows the energy.
Nice.
In the health unit, the energy goes gravitational of a small ring, then magnetical of the small ring, then gravitational of the small ring, and then magnetical of the big ring. So, I mean, it's gravitational small, magnetical small, then gravitational big, magnetical big, and then it goes out. That's the way it flows the energy. There's a difference between the coils that we use in the Magrav and the coils that we use in the health unit.
Okay, very good.
And we create the same, I'm going back to, I'm sorry. The same little coils for the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
So we use it, and also we use those. We see those pens. How this lady is holding this units. This beautiful lady is my mom.
Oh, sweet.
She's incredible. She loved this unit. I built a different one for her at home, and she loved it. So we've seen that when we have this unit, we have those pens, and most of the people don't understand how this pen works. And actually, the way it works for this, I'm going to explain it. These pens, and we hold them and we put them here on the heart. Both of them. So these pens help us to bring energy to the body, or remove energy from the body. Right. When we see these two different coils, this one has capacitors and this one doesn't have capacitors. What it means that the energy flows from the back to front. And then we have the pens here that help us to drain that energy to the seawater, the containers that have seawater on the bottom. Yes. That's the way this kind of devices works. Bring the energy from your back to front and change it. And then deliver that energy, suck that energy out of the body, and send it to, it's being sucked by the the seawater that we have in the body, which is a very strong gravitational field. So it sucks the body, remove out the body, the energy of the body. But that energy, not all the time we're gonna remove that energy. Sometimes if we want to repair, so if we have a tumor, we want to get rid of that energy. But if we want to repair a heart, a limb, like a joint, something. So we're gonna, even the heart, we're gonna have those energy pins connected. The energy goes from back to front, but then we wanted to go back to the part that we want to heal to increase that energy. But also, if we have something in the, if we have something in the heart, here we're gonna add something extra. So we're gonna add, let me put a different, here, if we have a problem with the heart, we're gonna put a patch here. A patch also as well. So with a specific gas that the heart needs. So we're using the health unit to create energy field around us, to push that energy through here and bring the elements that the heart needs. But also with the pens, we increase that energy, we put it back those pens here, so increases that energy to the heart. It'll help us to heal that part of the body.
Nice.
If we have a cancer, so instead of putting the pen, we're gonna put it connected to the cell water. So we're going to extract that energy out of the body.
Nice.
But the unit creates an environment that gives the elements, the main elements, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen to the body. It's 96% of the elements. So the body starts responding. If we have a disease, some people say, oh, I have a disease, I have tumor. What patches I would use? You have to use the whole unit plus the patches. The patches only target the specific part of the body. But also, if somebody has a disease, it means that it has imbalance in the whole body. So we have to bring balance to the body in order to respond to a specific part of the body. So
Nice.
we build patches on that area to make the specific change in that spot of the body.
So can we call these Magrav health unit, or you call it the health unit with coils? Can we call it a Magrav health unit, or you just call it health unit with coils?
Well, actually, if you see in the first photo here,
You actually have a Magrav on the floor in that one, right?
yes, one of the teachings that Mr. Cass taught us, it says if you put 4 megravs, here's 1, here's 2, the other one 3 and 4.
Nice.
Just even he mentioned this last Thursday, this megrav as well. If you put a 4 megrav, either in the square shape here, a single angle, or even 2 here. I mean, you will want to create 1 here and 1 here, and then 1 here and another here. You can play with that energy, with understanding the GANs, understanding what kind of GANs we're going to use, what kind of energy the body needs. So if I use those megrav without that health unit, I feel the energy. It's incredible. I sit down myself in the middle, and I feel the energy surrounding me. So I create an environment.
Right.
So I decide to put it around this unit called health unit, and increases the energy around that health unit.
And Mr. Cash has explained to me, so those Magravs are plugged in, right?
Yes, only the megrav, but not the unit. Not the unit has nothing to do with electricity.
Right. And so the Magravs, he has explained to me, in comparison to some of these newer units, are dealing with sort of the electrical energy in the physical. They're like the interface for the physical realm with the plasma. So yeah, that's what I thought, that just the units themselves were plugged. The Magravs were plugged in, but not the health unit.
Yes, so it changed the electricity to plasma, creates a stronger field inside here.
Nice.
So that's what I decided to put it. And this is different. It feels different with or without the megrav. But without the megrav, this unit, it creates its energy, and it's forever. You step inside and it feels the energy. It's incredible. The energy constantly feels the energy. It's not connected to anything. How is that possible? This is the beauty of this technology, to understand this technology.
How does it feel to you to have been around this technology so much? You look very vital to me. I mean, I think the last time I saw you was probably 2 years ago, and in person. And you just look very, very vital.
Because I've been involved in this technology. I had in the house, people who come visit us, a family comes to visit us and says, oh, I have problems to sleep.
Víctor, ¿sí puedes parar el video, porfa?
It's a field. I create a field, that energy field plasma.
Ok, bueno, creo que ya se dieron una probadita de lo que habla el video del doctor Rodrigo. Y por ahí ya pasaron los links para que puedan terminar de verlo, ya que dura 1:47 y creo que estamos perdiendo acá a los compañeros. Ok, bueno, vamos a las preguntas del chat. Aquí puso José una pregunta que hizo Valis en el grupo norteamericano, que dice que si nuestro Magrab son las 3 copas, copa 4 y 5 son la Tierra, en el ambiente gaseoso lo llamamos Magrab, en el líquido se llama copas. Usando la copa de hemoglobina aislamos el sistema terrestre, pero mantenemos la referencia. Cada placa, bobina, GANS, campo agregado queda como información como en la caja vacía del universo. Somos la totalidad de los campos creados por nuestros antepasados y por nosotros. El camino fue de la materia al plasma, ahora que aprendimos la interacción de los campos. Si empiezo a estudiar todas las lecciones enseñadas hasta ahora, podemos entender el Magrab, el sistema de vuelo, la comunicación instantánea, la comprensión del planeta, los seres y especialmente la comprensión del alma, de la creación y del creador. Ok. Eso lo puso Dan en uno de los talleres del grupo norteamericano. No sé si Dan pueda comentarnos acerca de su pregunta, si está o ya se fue. A ver, es que no escucho porque...
Corto. Es una domanda, una reflexión. Cuando el señor Keshe está en taller domingo.
O sea, es una reflexión del señor Keshe el domingo en Italia, ¿no?
No, è una mia riflessione, una pregunta por tener una confirmación a la verdad de mi pensamiento o no.
Correcto.
No sé, José, si te quedó aclarado o quieres preguntarle algo a Dan.
No, para mí fue una maravillosa reflexión y que de alguna forma me impactó y por eso pues he querido compartirla. Vamos, que no tengo duda en esa reflexión porque la veo perfecta, ¿no? Magnífica, ¿no?
Y si nos pudieran explicar un poquito, porque tal vez ustedes lo ven muy claro.
Hombre, yo creo que el autor es el que debería de explicarlo si quiere, ¿no? O sea, que era una pregunta al señor Kess. Él estaba pidiendo también una confirmación, como acaba de decir, ¿no? Entonces, como es una pregunta de él, creo yo que él sería el indicado de explicarla, si hay algo que ampliar, ¿no? Yo sí lo veo claro, ¿no?
Muy bien, sí, así lo...
Yo tengo una pregunta para, ya que está el autor aquí. ¿A qué se refería con cada frase? Ha explicado de él. No que nos explique, porque tal vez para muchos queda claro, pero su entendimiento de comunicación instantánea, el por qué él entiende que nosotros somos un Magrab. ¿Sí me explico? O sea, por cada renglón, Dan, si nos hicieras el favor de compartir tus pensamientos al momento de imprimirlo en frase o en una oración. Gracias.
Cierto, pruebo con mi español. Prima vez ho mirado a quello che Jalal ha detto, no? Todo che abbiamo adelante, opposto all'adelante, come si, antes, ¿no? Todos que sienten emociones, todos que creemos, es una forma de energía, es un campo magral que rimanga en nuestras copas, dentro corazón, dentro el alma. El alma es todo el campo que es una totalidad de campo, ¿no? Hoy un pensamiento, ieri un otro pensamiento, ma todo resta come una carta, come campo plasmático. E per eso ho detto, mirando il Magreb, la Tierra tiene la inercia, copa número 4, tiene la copa número 5 come alma della Tierra. E come quando noi come Magreb, es zinco, CO2, es cobre, perché todo es cobre nano, ricoberto.
Dan, disculpa.
Sí.
Creo que está John aquí. Tú en inglés puedes transmitirlo mejor y él lo traduciría. ¿O?
Sí, si John puede traducir.
John.
Por.
John.
Sí, estoy acá, estaba buscando el botón. Sí, ahora el dilema es que voy a tener que interpretar lo que me dice Dan en inglés. ¿Cuál era la pregunta? ¿Qué es lo que están explicando?
Porque ho pensato a esa pregunta, señor Keshe, en taller pasado di Corona Team American.
Liliana, ¿cuál es la pregunta?
La pregunta es ¿por qué o meglio esa pregunta?
Creo que Ricardo nos podría ayudar. No sé si le entendiste a Dan.
Ya, él sí me entendió.
¿Quién hizo la pregunta?
John, lo que le preguntaba, yo la hice, y no fue una pregunta, John, fue una petición que nos explicara lo que sentía, ya que para ti, para Vicente, para Úrsula, para alguno de los más viejos, queda clara digamos, la composición que él hizo y que presentó el domingo pasado. Para él, comunicación instantánea, que nosotros somos un Magreb. Lo que le preguntaba yo a él es si nos puede decir qué era lo que pensó, por qué puso cada frase de la forma que lo puso. O sea, qué estaba pensando al momento de imprimir en un papel esas oraciones. Es un poquito complejo, es entendible, pero un poquito complejo para los nuevos o inclusive para mí todavía.
¿Quién escribió esas cosas? Porque yo hasta ahora no estaba a tiro de la pantalla, por eso no estoy al tanto de lo que estaban hablando.
Dan la escribió una muy hermosa.
Las preguntas, sí.
Correcto.
O lo que escribió hoy, o lo que escribió el otro día.
Lo que escribió el otro día. Lo va a explicar él con sus palabras, el por qué lo escribió.
Because I'm looking.
Yes, Dan, go ahead.
Because I'm looking in the cups like Magreb. Ho mirato dentro la copa come il Magreb. La copa numero 5, 4 e 5, the cups number 4 and 5 I know it's the inertia and the soul of Earth. La cosa
Sí,
5.4 es... Ah, perdona.
¿No interpretaron ustedes cuando Kesh explicó en la traducción las copas 4 y 5 de la Tierra? Vendría a ser el Magrab de la Tierra, es decir, representan la Tierra y la inercia.
Sí, and noi, when we making the magravs, you have the Earth. Like
Yeah, you mean the magravs or the cups?
magrav. When you make the magravs,
Yeah.
power unity, you have 3 layers.
Yes, yes. Good, fine. The thing is, how many people have made the magravs here, no?
No.
Sí, Dan está explicando que el señor Kesh relaciona las copas con el magrav, que tiene 3 capas o 3 etapas, que serían las 3 chapas o bobinas en cada copa. Crean el campo magnético gravitacional del magrav en la copa. Por eso también él dice, ustedes pueden trabajar con distintas chapas, bobinas nano recubiertas, inclusive con chapas perforadas, con agujeros. No sé si han interpretado eso en la explicación de los jueves.
And I think when he's speaking about hemoglobins, no, you are the field specifically for Earth.
Claro, acá Dan está explicando de que cuando Kesh nos habló de la hemoglobina, interactúa directamente con el globo terráqueo, es decir, el magrav que interpreta a la Tierra, el globo terráqueo, que sería la 5ª copa. La 4ª copa interpreta las plantas.
No con la planta, come plantas.
Exactamente.
Inercia.
Sí, la inercia de las plantas.
Inercia no de las plantas, del magrav de...
Sí,
okay.
el magrav que personifica las plantas. Lo que pasa es que todo esto todavía falta una explicación que quedó en darnos más adelante. Nos está abriendo un poco la cabeza, Kesh, para que interpretemos de distintas formas los campos de energía que tenemos que visualizar al ir interpretando o construyendo estas 5 copas. Ubicándolas de distinta forma, logramos distintos campos y generamos otros campos de fuerza para generar distintas cosas.
Looking when Mr. Kesh explained it in horizontal position or vertical position in the cup or create the fields or stopping the fields.
Sí, él ha hablado de poner las chapas o las bobinas en forma horizontal en vez de vertical para generar otros campos de energía. Inclusive ha mencionado chapas con agujeros.
The stacker of magrav is the same. The stacker of magrav is the same. You have the hole inside. Es lo mismo el magrav porque tiene el agujero, el centro. Otra cosa, mirando a que hablaba, when I needed to speak in English, not in, I listened when Jalal saying, we, like a soul, we are the field together from our experience in this earth and experience of ancestors.
Sí, nosotros lo que estamos creando en las copas es representando nuestros campos de energía, nuestro magrav personal, que incluye inclusive los magrav de nuestros ancestros.
When you change the position of cups or change the environment, you obtain different fields inside of
Sí.
cups.
Sí, exactamente. Cuando ustedes cambian la posición de los metales o las bobinas, sea horizontal, vertical o nano recubrimiento o sin nano recubrir, están cambiando los campos de energía y generan otros campos para producir otros efectos diferentes.
My question directly is, if I initially study all the lesson of Mr. Cash from beginning, from 2015, 14, from today, I'm learning how to making the magrav, the spaceship, the instant communication, or understanding the.
I wouldn't complicate their understanding yet. They first have to learn how to do the basic cups.
No, this is my question in the final.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. No,
it all goes straight to the understanding of how the fields work to create the whole thing. The same as the health unit. The health unit has over 400 different ganses, and it creates a field to generate whatever you need.
Can I give you a solution?
Yes, Jalal,
go ahead.
please.
Yes, Jalal.
Hi everyone. Palis, are you translate only for me?
For everybody.
Okay. If the host goes to the 240 knowledge seekers.
240 o 14?
40.
240. Hay que ir al Knowledge Seekers, al curso número 240.
From 2 hours, 52 minutes.
A partir de las 2 horas, 52 minutos.
If you understand this 1 hour from the teaching, really understand.
Si comprendes realmente esa hora que empieza en ese momento de esta clase del señor Cash,
you will understand everything about the plasma technology.
Van a comprender todo lo que es la energía del plasma, toda esta tecnología.
But one thing, please consider in your mind.
Pero por favor consideren esto en su mente o en su cabeza.
Leave everything you learn outside Kasha Foundation.
Leave what?
Leave everything you learned outside Kasha Foundation.
Dejen todo lo que han aprendido sobre la Fundación Cash.
Don't think about electron, proton, neutron, whatever.
No piensen en el electrón, protón o lo que sea. Escuchen bien e interpreten lo que está diciendo ahí.
If you go outside, you will see you have your body.
Please repeat that.
If you go outside in the street or in the garden, wherever you go, you will see your body.
Si ustedes salen afuera al jardín o fuera de su hogar, para poder ver su cuerpo.
You will see the sun.
Verán ustedes al sol.
You will see the stars.
Verán las estrellas.
You will see the rain. You will see the earth. Everything you will see is this beauty.
Todo lo que ustedes van a ver, sea lluvia, aire o lo que sea, verán esta hermosura.
You will not see this proton, electron, positron, what you call it, tron. This all complicated to make you dizzy and do not understand anything.
No verán todos los componentes de un átomo que para que los vuelva locos.
Just ask yourself from where all of these things come.
Solo pregúntense de dónde vienen todas estas cosas hermosas.
Everyone must ask this question.
Todos deben preguntarse esta pregunta.
When you ask, you will receive the answer.
Cuando ustedes hagan esa pregunta, van a recibir la respuesta.
Because you open a gate, a way to understand.
Porque ustedes abren una puerta para el entendimiento.
So, first, from where it came.
Primero, de dónde viene.
And how become a matter state.
Y cómo se convierten en una materia.
And this is finished. 2 questions. If you answer it, you answer everything in the universe.
Y si ustedes interpretan y contestan estas preguntas, pueden comprender todo lo que ocurre en el universo.
Because what happened in the micro happens in the micro.
Porque como todo lo que ocurre arriba, también ocurre abajo. Las palabras de Trimegisto.
So, if you go to that teaching and you make it in Spanish translation.
Si van entonces a la enseñanza número 240, 2 hours, how many minutes? 40 minutes?
52 minutes.
52 minutes. 2 horas 52 minutos del curso número 240. Creo que no está traducido al español, pero bueno, hagan la traducción de las palabras que están escritas abajo y ahí podrán ir comprendiendo todo lo que dice el señor Kesh.
And John, from the morning 7 o'clock until 5 o'clock, I am listening to only this part.
Y él desde las 5 de la mañana hasta las 7 de la noche, él escucha solamente esto.
And Mr. Cash, in that teaching, he said, if you understand, you do not need to remember.
El señor Kesh ha dicho, si ustedes entienden, comprenden lo que se dice, no necesitan recordar nada, comprenden todo.
Every science we see, physics, math, chemics, biology, they want you to remember these things, but you don't need.
Todas las enseñanzas, sea química, física o lo que sea, ustedes tienen que recordar un montón de cosas. Pero acá con la enseñanza de Kesh, con solo comprenderlo, lo recuerdan. No hace falta tener que recordar lo que él dice, sino comprenderlo.
I am very sure if you understand this special teaching, and that maybe 1 hour, I think, or a little bit more, you will speak every language, you will speak with everyone, you will understand everyone.
Si ustedes realmente comprenden esto, que dura más aproximadamente 1 hora o un poquito más, van a entender absolutamente todo.
In language, I mean language of the physics, language of the chemists, language of the doctors, language of everything.
Sí, entendiendo y comprendiendo lo que explica Kesh en este video, esta enseñanza reemplaza todos los conocimientos que puedas recordar referente a la química, física o lo que sea.
And I think in Friday, in the Portuguese teaching, maybe I will teach there, because I think they need it.
Y creo que yo estaré el viernes que viene con los brasileros enseñándole esto porque ellos lo necesitan.
So if you didn't understand, you will understand something, and this is good. And we will complete it there in the Portuguese teaching.
Escuchen esto y si no lo comprenden bien, estén presentes el viernes en el grupo brasileño, el portugués, y ahí seguro que van a terminar de comprender todo lo que se quiere explicar aquí. Thank you, Jalal.
Thank you, my friends. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Yalal. Bienvenido. Y sí, esperamos hacer una traducción simultánea de esa enseñanza para que nos quede un poco más claro la explicación. De nuevo,
Sí,
muchas gracias.
Escuchando el portugués también te ayuda bastante más.
Sí. Vamos a acabar hablando de todos los lenguajes.
Además, Gloria nos traduce a nosotros, si puede, ¿no?
¿Quién?
Gloria.
Gloria, sí.
Si está presente.
Sí está Gloria, mira, ya puso, gracias.
Sí, hola, buenas tardes, aquí escuchándolos, claro, nos vemos este viernes con mucho gusto. Gracias.
Gracias, Gloria.
A todos, a John, a ti, a todos, a José, a todos, gracias.
Muy bien. ¿Podías cambiar la pantalla, John? Que tengo que buscar una cosa y no sé hacerlo. Sí. Sí puedes.
Yo no lo estoy tomando la imagen esta. A ver, ¿cree que vaya a la original?
Sí, a la pantalla de la fundación. Se está viendo la del doctor Rodrigo, ¿no? Se está ahí. Ya está. Es que yo así ahora busco y cambio. Hams tiene la mano levantada. Liliana.
Sí, adelante, Hans. Es que yo aquí no lo veo.
Gracias a todos. Quería saber si de pronto tienen, o sea, el señor Rodrigo Vildosora tiene los planos de las máquinas que tiene, si las comparte o no sé si de pronto tendrá alguna página.
Me parece que en el video mencionaron que estaban en el blueprint de la wiki. Ahí estaban unos planos. Creo que entendí eso. Y sí, yo sí he visto los blueprints y sí hay planos, pero no he visto yo los de Rodrigo.
Además, tienes muchos vídeos de él que explica, que le hacen entrevistas en su casa y explica cómo lo hace. Incluso hace unos respiradores y rellena unas bobinas y son muy buenos. Están en castellano.
Sí, yo he visto los que él habla y muestra cómo hace los respiradores, pero la máquina las enseña ahí físicamente, pero cómo están estructuradas no.
La de las anillas lo explica cómo lo hace. Le preguntan qué tipo de gas. Al principio hay una diferencia de potencial entre ellos, pero en el último vídeo ya dice que no, que ya pone los mismos gas con la misma proporción y son ellos los que se reajustan. O sea, toda la información la tienes, que es lo que él dice. Tiene planos y tienes los planos oficiales, que es donde debes de ir, ¿no? Ya los suyos. Pero ahí está toda la información.
Okay, gracias.
Además hay un vídeo de una entrevista con, creo que era chilena, una señora, no me acuerdo del nombre, chilena, que le hizo una entrevista en su casa y le explicó cómo hizo la máquina con los reactores.
No era Graciela Sissin, es uruguaya.
Uruguaya, vale.
La hermana de...
Pues sí, ese vídeo es buenísimo porque te explica la composición que lleva en los reactores y todo, o sea que te puedes enterar perfectamente, ¿sabes?
La composición de los reactores ahora que hace, porque en otros vídeos explicaba a otros. Quiere decir yo que son cosas que se van modificando y van cambiando.
Sí.
Toda esa información la tiene ahí.
Exacto.
Inclusive Esteban ha armado unos cuantos de estos aparatitos.
No sé para dónde has mirado al decir aparatitos.
Bueno, máquinas, ponele el nombre que desees. Emulación del sistema universal.
Vale.
Justamente las copas representan el sistema universal para que nosotros visualicemos y nos enfoquemos en eso. Pero a la larga es tener la idea de cómo funciona todo, el concepto, la base de cómo funciona absolutamente todo, y nosotros mediante nuestra alma podemos generar lo que nos haga falta. A eso nos está llevando todas estas últimas enseñanzas.
Estaremos el viernes ahí, ¿eh? Podéis poner el número de Zoom por si hay alguien que le interesa y no sabe dónde.
Como no, ya lo busco, sí.
Y la hora, más o menos. ¿Y más iba a hablar?
Es a las 24 horas el viernes, porque es a las 19 horas acá en la Argentina, hay 5 horas de diferencia. Y a ver dónde tengo el número. Bueno, voy a demorar un poco porque tengo esa página, la tenía cerrada, la tengo que buscar.
Lo puse en chat.
Sí, lo has puesto, ¿no?
Sí, ya la han compartido, John, la han compartido en el chat. Sí.
Ah, bueno, sí, sí, está ahí está el número, cierto.
Hay más rápidos que nosotros.
También vamos a compartir en la sala para donde vamos a estar haciendo la traducción simultánea para los que gusten entrar. Ahorita la comparte José, por favor. Te lo puse en el Telegram.
Sí, Liliana, ahora mismo lo comparto.
Sí, gracias.
Sí, ya está.
Ya está, sí.
Así. Entonces, ahora cuando se recuperen de la charla de Kesen del sábado, del jueves, pues recargarán otra vez y nos prepararemos para el próximo jueves, que será la traca final. Que será en directo y ahí se presentará todo.
Sí, así es, Víctor. Andamos estudiando los talleres y viendo a ver qué entendemos de las copas.
Tengo una pregunta para ti, Liliana.
Sí, 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 sí.
Mi pregunta para ti es, ¿en verdad entendiste cuál es la relación o la diferencia del magnesio en la copa, en el mix que se hace en el protocolo? ¿No lo puedes explicar?
La relación del magnesio. Ah, ok, lo que me trataron de... la duda que...
Sí. La duda que pusiste. Y te voy a decir por qué.
De cómo quieres que... ¿Cómo es mi entendimiento para que yo haga eso? Porque la verdad les pasé ese protocolo, pero realmente no expliqué cómo hacerlo.
Ok, te lo explico porque este protocolo funciona para infecciones, no solamente para el corona, para muchas más infecciones. Y yo sí escuché cuando hiciste la pregunta, pero dije, ay, Liliana, pero cuando me tocó a mí hacer el mix para hacérselo a una persona, la marrana torció el rabo.
Ah, ¿verdad?
Entonces, sí, entonces yo dije, a ver, y lo regresé varias veces. Entonces, algo dentro de mí me dijo que tenía que poner atención, especialmente con ese protocolo. En esta semana ha venido 2 personas que supuestamente tuvieron el corona en la cabeza y que ya están dadas de alta. Sin embargo, se quejan de dolores muy fuertes de cabeza.
Sí. Y...
Entonces, yo quise hacer el mix y cabrón.
Y sí, ahora ¿cómo le hago? ¿Qué hago? ¿Qué voy a hacer primero?
¿Cuánta razón tenía Liliana?
Sí, pues te digo que estaba leyendo y yo no le entiendo aquí cómo voy a hacerlo. O sea, es que me pongo en el caso de que ya lo voy a preparar yo Y digo, pero pues no entiendo cómo lo podría hacer. A lo mejor para otras personas está muy fácil la traducción, pero si yo quisiera hacer un video demostrando cómo hacer ese proceso, pues no. Ok. Por lo que yo entendí, es que tienes que, a ver, te estoy buscando aquí Está. Ay, perdón. Página. No sé si puedes tú compartir. ¿Tienes ahí a la mano el protocolo, Ricardo?
Yo lo tengo, pero en inglés.
En inglés, ok.
Déjamelo, lo agarro. Mi esposa también le apareció una pequeña infección en el oído, recurrente de hace tiempo, que tuvo una infección en el oído. Y yo dije, ya son 3 personas, voy a hacer el mix. Va a rendir ahorita. Pero no, resulta que a la hora de querer hacerlo, no lo entendí. Y sé que el magnesio es importante porque inclusive para parches en el cerebro, pues ayudan con el Alzheimer.
Ok, ya lo encontré.
Y
dice, es usar 30% de la mezcla de plasma GANS 1. Y la mezcla de plasma GANS 1 es, agregas, por decir, en 800 mililitros de agua, agregas 200 mililitros de GANS de la copa 1.
De GANS.
Esa es tu mezcla, ajá, sí, de GANS. Esa es tu mezcla de plasma GANS 1.
Ok.
Después, te dice que uses, dice que lo hagas en una solución. Y ahí ya tienes dos opciones. O usas las tabletas de magnesio, 2 o 3 tabletas de magnesio, o vas a hacer un GANS de magnesio. ¿Sí?
En mi caso ya tengo GANS de magnesio.
¿Ya tienes el GANS de magnesio? ¿Ya tienes sus aminoácidos? Porque para esto tienes que hacer GANS de magnesio, si no tienes las tabletas, y también tienes que hacer el GANS de zinc y de CO2.
Sí, eso sí lo tengo.
Bueno, para que obtengas de eso los aminoácidos, porque lo que se va a utilizar son los aminoácidos del GANS de zinc y CO2.
De zinc nada más tengo.
Ok, entonces por eso es que tienen que hacer ya sea que un reactor.
Ricardo.
Mándeme.
Ricardo, tienes algo mucho más rápido y más a mano. Tienes el plasma de la misma persona que se puede poner con un gotero dentro del oído. Eso le va a sanar enseguida.
Ok, gracias Vicente. John, ¿eres John? John.
Sí.
John, okay, tengo una pregunta. Me dio miedo, voy a ser sincero, me dio miedo ponerle la gotita porque voy a preguntarle a ver si me deja sacarle una fotografía, en el caso de mi esposa, y ponerle en el oído, porque tengo las 5 copas. De hecho, me está diciendo que tiene...
Pero, Ricardo, no interpretaste lo que yo dije. Ponle el plasma de tu misma esposa.
Ok. No entendí.
¿Interpreta lo que te estoy diciendo? La propia orina. Si tienes también una muela inflamada, con solo hacer buches se va a desinflamar. Es santo remedio. No te
Entonces,
compliques
una,
tanto haciendo mezclas, la tienes ahí a mano.
sí, yo tengo las mías, pero la de ella se la pido aparte y se la
Bueno,
pongo.
se entiende. Pero no hay que ir a farmacia, no hay que fabricarlo, no hay que hacer nada. Es juntarlo, nada más.
Listo, listo, John. Gracias, 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 gracias por...
Y bueno,
Yo
si buscas
pensé,
en Google urinoterapia o orinoterapia, ahí tendrás miles de cosas que puedes hacer. Y confía, porque la persona que escribe ahí está volcando con todo su amor la información.
sí, igual que nosotros, yo pensé que te referías a las 5 copas.
No, la copa de uno. Tiene
La
las
copa de
7
uno.
copas las tiene dentro de tu cuerpo, los 7 chakras.
Sí, es verdad. Ok, pues, tiene vivo y cuando yo sacaba una gota de la copa número 3 ahorita, el alma de la fisicalidad, pensé que le podía ayudar para la infección, porque realmente hay una infección muy fuerte ahí, porque está vivo. Pero al momento de ponérsela, yo se la...
Puede ser una inflamación en vez de una infección.
Claro, pero el cuerpo está
¿Sabe? Lo
generando,
que me...
Ricardo, el cuerpo está generando sus propios anticuerpos y ahí están a mano.
¿Sabes que le duele la mano derecha de ese mismo? La coyuntura, pero escucha bien, la coyuntura de la mano derecha del mismo lado de ese oído, comenzando desde la nuca, o sea, toda la parte del oído hacia abajo, le duele. Fue lo que comenzó a preocuparme un poquito.
Sí.
Porque hay un protocolo en el coronavirus para oído y cuello. Entonces, no quiero pensar... ¿Sí me explico? ¿Sí me explico?
Entiendo lo que quiere decir, sí.
Porque es preciso, presenta todos los síntomas del protocolo. Eso es lo que voy a hacer, no le voy a dar más vueltas. Inflamación del oído, reventó el oído está vivo. Ya anteriormente había tenido, perdió el 20% de su oído hace varios meses ya. Ya había estado bien, pero ahorita, apenas antier, el día antier, le revisé el oído por dentro, con unas lupas que por ahí tengo, y está vivo, es una infección viva, está sacando pus, ella no se había dado cuenta, ella pensaba que le había caído agüita, pero ya cuando le dije, ¿sabes qué? Aquí hay una fotografía de tu oído, es infección, y ella pensaba que el movimiento repetitivo de hacer, por ejemplo, highlights o trabajar con bleach, era lo que le había causado el dolor de la mano derecha. Sin embargo, yo lo asocio directamente con la infección del oído. Y bueno, ya las dos cosas juntas, infección del oído, dolor del cuello, nervios y en la coyuntura, exactamente en la coyuntura del hombro, pues ya es otra cosa. Por eso me dirigí al protocolo de magnesio.
Está bueno, sí. Sí, no hay que dejar que se disperse o se amplíe la infección. Hay que mantenerla controlada. Debe tener el tímpano perforado, seguramente.
Sí, está perforado, ya está perforado, ya está perforado. ¿Qué puedo hacer? Entonces, sí, de hecho la querían operar, pero ya empezábamos con los GANs, con los protocolos. Y la Copa 1, no recuerdo, creo que fuiste el mismo tú, Vicente, me sugirió la copa 1 y se la estuvo poniendo, pero no sé qué pasó esta semana. Posiblemente le volvió a caer agua, se metió a bañar y le cayó agua, y de ahí se viene otra vez, pero no le dolía la mano la vez pasada. Ahorita lo que necesitamos es detener la infección. Por eso me dirigí al protocolo del coronavirus, porque si ya está específicamente dónde ataca, vamos, cualquier infección, no voy a decir que solamente... Bueno, yo no lo tomo... Para mí estos protocolos son de muchísima ayuda porque me dan una guía para muchas cosas más, para muchas enfermedades, siguiendo el coronavirus.
Te comento, Ricardo, en caso de gente que tiene gangrena o algo en un pie, la mejor sanación y la más rápida es justamente con orina. La orina es lo propio y está todo ahí. Te ayuda a restablecer o normalizar y cerrar la herida de cualquier herida. Pero bueno, es cuestión de aplicar los dos protocolos, ¿no? Por ahí tiene 24 horas, tiene la mitad, o 6 horas uno, 6 horas a otro y ir alternándolos.
Por lo que no quiere es cerrar la herida, lo que quiere es quitar la infección o inflamación.
Bueno, pero la herida, si el tímpano está lastimado, sí la tiene que cerrar.
Sí,
el tímpano tiene que cerrarse.
Habrá que quitar la infección y que salga esa pus, porque si lo cierra...
No, bueno, se entiende que cuando cierra es porque ya expulsó toda la pus. Eso es cómo trabaja la naturaleza.
Ok, solamente que ya nosotros que estamos con esa tecnología de plasma, parece que no nos guiamos con la naturaleza. John,
saber cómo funciona la naturaleza. El trabajar, lo que nos enseña el señor Kesh es directamente saber cómo funciona toda la naturaleza. Es así de simple.
Okay. Ayúdame entonces. Yo con los pen Kesh puedo cerrar heridas, inclusive operaciones de horas. Puede salir cualquier persona de un quirófano y puedo ayudarle a cerrar la herida. Y se cierra en minutos, no importa qué herida sea. Ya lo he comprobado. Bueno, espero hacer algún video en vivo para mostrárselo en cámara. Pero no puedo aplicar el pen Kesh directamente en el oído de las personas.
Claro, porque la herida está supurando, ¿sí? Se entiende.
¿Cómo podría ayudar esta herida a limpiarla? Porque cerrarlo, sé que en los dedos, 2 de en medio, no estoy seguro, 2 de en medio, o enseguida del pulgar, aplicando reflexología, sano el oído. Pero necesito saber cómo sacar la pus que está saliendo.
Bueno, por eso yo insisto, lo que hace la orina es justamente eso. Por eso yo te menciono lo que es gangrena. La gangrena es una infección que no cierra nunca. Y lo que ayuda a la orina es limpiar, porque ahí tienes tus glóbulos blancos en la orina, tienes toda la información, tienes tus anticuerpos, tienes todo. Te ayuda a limpiar y sanar.
Perfecto. Listo, John. Gracias. Y aprovechando aprovechando el raite, ¿alguna fórmula con orinoterapia para el colesterol?
Ingiriéndola normalmente te regulariza absolutamente todo. Lo que pasa es que el 90% de la gente dice, no, yo no, eso, ¿cómo voy a tomar eso? Bueno, la tomaron durante 9 meses y no se acuerdan. El líquido amniótico. Esa es la triste realidad.
Sí. Ok.
Buenas tardes a todos. Me gustaría decirles algo para Ricardo.
Sí, ¿qué tal, Néstor?
Sí, estoy con poco tiempo, así que le voy a decir rápido. Por ahí si te sirve de algo, te comento una experiencia mía, muy rápida, así. Se me inflamó las anginas, acá le decimos anginas, la garganta. Y eso anteriormente me mandaba al médico, me daban antibióticos y me costaba recuperarme, con fiebre y todo inclusive. Y justo en una de esas oportunidades paso por la casa de John y me dice, usa tu orina, me dice John, ¿viste? Llego a casa y digo, oh, bueno, voy a hacer eso. Me pongo a hacer eso y hice 3 gárgaras de pulmón completo, ¿viste? Las gárgaras que haces, le haces burbujear ahí en la garganta a la orina. Y solo con eso ya me alivió, me desinflamó la infección en la garganta y comenzás a quitarlo con, como se sacan los catarros, no sé cómo le conocés vos a la mucosidad, y
Sí,
me alivió enseguida. A los 5 minutos ya estaba normal, prácticamente normal, sentía un poquito de sequedad, que al otro día ya no tenía nada. Eso nomás le quería comentar.
Pues muchas gracias.
Gracias, sí, ya estoy animado porque yo compagino, y bueno, yo comparto los pensamientos de John y de Vicente. Yo sí los comparto. De hecho, por ahí alguien me preguntó, no sé si esté aquí ahorita, pero me preguntó mucho acerca de la comida, cómo me estaba alimentando y cuánto tiempo llevaba. A lo que le dije, ok, para no tener descompensaciones, sigo con una media comida, pues ya no como mucho, pero sí, una vez al día. Y hay días que se me olvida. Me pongo algo en el estómago. Hambre no tengo porque hace mucho tiempo que no recuerdo cómo es el hambre. No recuerdo esas temblorinas, esas cosas que cuando uno no come. Y salió el comentario de la orina y se espantó. Dijo, pero eso nunca lo ha dicho el señor Keshe. Y quiero recordarles que sí, que en alguna ocasión, si hay alguien por ahí que tenga duda, ya ha mencionado el señor Keshe a John, precisamente en el tema de la orina. Pero mucha gente desconoce algo que me parece que es importante para nosotros, porque tenemos toda la medicina. Si nos pasara en todos los países lo mismo que pasó en China, ya se han de imaginar todos los doctores la mayoría de los doctores lo que les pasó. Imagínense lo que vamos a posiblemente más adelante a sufrir, más en este momento que no podemos presentarnos en un hospital, porque quién sabe cómo nos vaya o si vayamos a salir. Y bueno, esta es una de las alternativas más poderosas a mi punto de vista. Gracias, John. Gracias.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Ok. Gracias, Ricardo.
Hans tenía la mano levantada.
Adelante, Hans.
Sí, bueno, yo no soy médico, pero pues no sé, yo he escuchado decir que la copa, o mejor dicho, el GANS de la copa 2 es un antibiótico. Y pues, aunque, no sé, o sea, se dice pues que no se debe utilizar sino de la cintura, de la parte hacia abajo, pero pienso que se pueden hacer parches y colocarlo en los dos extremos para hacer un campo, interactúen los dos campos de energía. Es una opinión, ¿no? La verdad es solamente lo que me dice mi instinto.
No, creo que el GANS de la copa 2 no se utiliza de las costillas hacia arriba, y en la cabeza tampoco. Entonces,
correcto, no sé.
Entonces quería compartirte completo el protocolo antes de que...
Pues sí, antes que
tienes que hacer. ¿Sí? Okay.
Sí, porque ya tengo todas las queridas. Gracias.
Mira, vas a hacer el GANS de zinc y CO2. De eso vas a utilizar los aminoácidos. Vas a hacer tu GANS de magnesio, pero con la sal al 0.9%. De ahí vas a utilizar el agua salada que está en tu reactor. ¿Sí? Ok. También,
del 9%. Del 9%
el GANS de magnesio lo vas a hacer con 0.9% de salinidad. Okay. El agua. También vas a utilizar tus aminoácidos de la copa 1. Bien.
Ok.
Bien. Y el 5% del GANS de magnesio. Y a eso se lo vas a agregar al 30% de la mezcla de plasma GANS 1. Y ya lo demás lo completas para el 100%, o sea, dependiendo de lo que lo que hayas utilizado de tu mezcla de plasma GANS 1, si utilizaste 200 mililitros de GANS o con 800 mililitros de agua, a eso lo vas a completar. Eso viene siendo un 30%.
Este es el 30%, sí, perfecto.
Sí. De esa
Ahora,
mezcla vas a hacer un 30.
déjame,
Si lo sumas con el 35, con el 5% del GANS de magnesio, entonces te faltarían, para completar el 100, lo completas, me imagino que con agua. O con la agua salina.
Okay.
Ahí es donde... Porque aquí no te indica qué cantidad de agua salina vas a utilizar.
¿Saben? No sé si alguien más lo ha probado. El agua salina, bueno, el agua con sal. Si yo traigo una infección o si traigo un dolor, un retorcijón de panza, agarro un trapo, le pongo agua, le agrego un poquito de sal, preferentemente que sea sal de mar. La meto en una bolsa, me la pongo en el estómago. No sé si alguien ha hecho eso, pero te absorbe la sal, el agua con sal te absorbe muchas cosas, absorbe energía. Después hay que desecharla y hay que enjuagarla, porque si la agarra alguien, le sigue absorbiendo. Ok, el agua con sal es, por el comentario que me estás haciendo, Liliana, si es una cosa bien diferente el agua con sal y otra cosa es nada más el agua regular. Creo que es mucho más fuerte el agua con sal, creo. Ahora, si ya a eso le agregamos los campos, pienso, porque no estoy seguro, es solamente mi sentir, que se hace muchísimo más fuerte lo que dé o el campo. Porque ya se convierte en eléctrica. El agua que no tiene sal no es eléctrica prácticamente. El agua con sal ya sería eléctrica. Ahora pienso que necesitamos checar ese dato bien. Porque es muy diferente con sal, agua salina, sí, a agua regular. Es un mundo de diferencia.
Sí.
De hecho, si ponemos si hacemos nuestra copa sin sal, dudo mucho que vayamos a obtener algo. Quién sabe, posiblemente sí, pero el agua es un aislante. Bueno, aislante si está separado, claro que si pongo un cable y lo piso, me voy a electrocutar. Ok. Bueno.
Pero entonces harías una mezcla con eso, pero sí tienes razón, no sabríamos si es con el agua salada o con agua normal.
Yo voy a checar ese dato y se los voy a compartir porque lo necesito ya ahorita. Sí, y creo que se tiene que lavar cada 15 minutos, ¿verdad? Es uno de los protocolos más delicados que hay.
Sí, aquí te indica que lo tienes que hacer cada 15 minutos hasta por 3 horas. Que lavar la cabeza con esa mezcla. José tiene la mano levantada. Ok. Gracias, Ricardo.
Sí, pero no quería interrumpir, solo desearle mejoría a Ricardo. Y quería comentar algo que es interesante que ha puesto en el chat Gerardo Ramírez. Dice, hola, para todos los que viven en España, decirles que ya tengo la bobina de alambre de zinc que me mandó Gianni. Sale a 0,55 € el metro más gastos de envío. Mi teléfono es 672-2939.
José, creo que no deberían de pasar sus datos por eso.
Bueno. Bueno, yo qué sé.
Para los interesados.
Es que están escritos. Gerardo, sí. Si tú quieres decirlo mejor, pues di lo que tengas que decir.
Sí, porque ves que la otra vez fue afuera del taller lo que se comentó para que no quedara grabado.
Bueno, pero está escrito ahí y el que quiera lo copia y ya está.
Bien.
Sí, simplemente era para los que están en el taller que residan en España, que se pongan en contacto conmigo, nada más.
Muy bien.
Víctor,
Dime.
el tuyo, ¿cómo lo hacemos? ¿La dirección me la pones en el... ¿Nos mandas por correo o cómo lo hacemos?
Ya te lo mando. O hoy o mañana. Pero
Vale.
ahora fuera de línea.
Vale, vale.
Gracias.
Venga.
John,
Nada, venga.
adelante.
Un momento, un momento, que Jalal también ha puesto aquí algo que posiblemente...
Creo que ya se va a dormir.
Good morning.
Good night. Muchas gracias, Jalal, por estar aquí.
Jalal dice, piensen en forma de plasma primero y después buenas noches. Gracias a todos nosotros.
Gracias noches. Good night.
Buenas noches.
Todo tuyo, John.
Muy bien, fenómeno. Entonces damos por terminado el taller de enseñanzas públicas en español correspondiente al día lunes 24 de agosto del 2020, el curso número 70. Gracias a todos y que descansen en forma placentera. Adiós.
Vale, buenas noches a
Gracias.
todos.
Gracias a todos.
Bendiciones.
Hasta luego.
Buenas noches a todos.
Liliana, estoy en pie con lo del Minimagraph cuando gusten.